Xbox is hands of OSS first development. My name is Matt Booty. Here is your coffee order. 2 creams, 1 sugar.
Storm is coming.
25.
It's coming.
Great circle.
Bitches.
December. 25.
It's coming.
Xbox no, field desk. Well,
the party's on now, Grinders. Thank you again, 3K. Here we go.
Yeah. 3,000 grinders, yeah, we climb so high. Splitting quality every day, reaching for the sky. Gaming world, beware, we got the winning vibe. Grinding through the night, can you feel the tribe? Controller in my hand, can't slow down this flow. Leveling up fast with every game will show. Top the leaderboards, yeah, watch the numbers rise. Eyes on the prize, we're aiming for the skies. We're grinding games all night, all day. From zero to hero, we'll pave the way. 3,000 strong, we celebrate. Grinding hard for a future great. Every click, every move, we break the mold. Adventures and pixel stories unfold. Together we conquer, nothing to fear. 3,000 grinders, let them hear. Wake up, game on, we never quit the race. Pushing the limits at a breakneck pace. Victory tastes sweet, fortune we chase. 3,000 grinders, we own this space. We're grinding games all night, all day. From zero to hero, we'll pave the way. 3,000 strong, we celebrate. Grinding hard for a future great. Wake up, game on, we never quit the race. Pushing the limits at a breakneck pace. Victory tastes sweet, fortune we chase. 3,000 grinders, we own this space. We're grinding games all night, all day. From zero to hero, we'll pave the way. 3,000 strong, we celebrate. Grinding hard for a future great. Every click, every move, we break the mold. Adventures and pixel stories unfold. Together we conquer, nothing to fear. Grinding hard for a future great.
Xbox no, field desk. Well,
Wake up, game on, we never quit the race. Pushing the limits at a breakneck pace. Victory tastes sweet, fortune we chase. 3,000 grinders, we own this space. 3,000 grinders, we own this space.
Yo, what's up, Grinders? We did it, 3K, baby.
Xbox no, field desk.
Feeling hyped up. Everybody's here. Yo, thank you again, Grinders, for coming on through. Hit that like button. We are at 3K, Grinders. and we did it. We did it live last week, and this is our celebration show. And hey, without further ado, let me do my shout outs, and we're getting right to the news. So what's up, Mary, Kyle, Andrew, Leach, Curse, Kane, Mary, Wilcox? How you doing? DJ, shout out to Ron M. He dropped the bomb of the 50 of the 10 grinders. We are on our way to the VIPs. Thank you, Ron M. And he upgraded to an ultimate grinder. Woo!
Welcome to all VIPs Ultimate.
Oh, they come. Who we get? Andrew Killex.
Let's go.
Silverback. Delta Victor Bravo. Hall PS Gamer. Welcome to the VIP. Dylan Rafferty. Ron gotcha. Let's go! Shout out to Cyber Dragon member for 37 friggin' months. What's up, chat, mods, grinders, and the host, Jez7780. Congrats on 3K. Yo, thank you so much, Cyber Dragon. Wouldn't have been here without you, man. Been here from OG Grinder. He's the OG Grinder. And then Ron M upgraded to the Ultimate Grinders, where he gets the music. All the music you hear here, day one, released playlist style to the Ultimate Grinder. So if you get a VIP, you want to upgrade to Ultimate Grinder. The Ultimate Grinders get special voting and also get the music day one. Their own music playlists. Some of the music you hear here, some exclusive, because I do that. Exclusive music going to the Ultimate Grinders. Those are the DJs of the Gaming Grindhouse. Shout out to Ron M for being an Ultimate Grinder. And also dropping the members. So also, not only do we hit 3K, but I've calculated, I updated the member thing at the bottom. Our next emoji is 150 members more. So we need 150 members to get there. Now with Ron's 10, we got 140 left. So we're on our way to the next emoji. And I showed you what they can be. You'll vote on them as a VIP. It could be the I think, thou shalt not, I think. That could be the next emoji, or the wonderful, the Xbox Glaze, which is one of my favorites, the Xbox Glaze. So those are your two emojis that'll be once we hit the next level, which will be at 140 more VIPs in the house. So just to let you know, that's our goal at the bottom to get that next emoji in the house, but we did hit the 3K. And it wouldn't be a 3K show without bringing in the OGs. And that's right, everybody. I got him. Frogs, what are you up to, man? They've been asking for you. How are you doing?
Yeah, man. It's been busy, man. Going on cruises and trying to get some vacation time in my life.
Hell, man, good.
Yeah.
Let's go. Welcome back, Frogs. We could not have the Gaming Grindhouse 3K show without the OG Frogs. Yeah, and they've been asking for you,
man. I appreciate it.
And another person they've been asking for, who else will not be here for this special occasion, but the J-Dub. What's up? How you doing, man? What's up, J-Dub? Well, J-Dub is celebrating. He's probably drinking right now. He's getting ready for the drinks, but J-Dub, whenever you're ready. Shout out to Cyber Dragon for the 5 memberships. We're on our way with the moms. Dude, Cyber Dragon, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the VIP membership. It's for harder than the internet.
Thank you, Cyber Dragon, man. Add into that. We are now, I'm keeping count now, 135. And you know what? Let's keep the train going. Let's keep that train going. Let's see what we're doing here. Let me see. Let's see. What? Where's mine? There we go. Phil got J-Dub. No, he's here. He's here. Phil J-Dub, you see him? He's here. He's probably just doing something. Hold on. We got him. But we got J-Dub and Frogs. But Frogs, what have you been up to? How you doing, man?
Nah, man, I've been great, man. I just been mostly let's see, what have I been doing? Shoot. I just got off a cruise probably about a couple of weeks ago. Did a 7-day cruise to the Bahamas and Mexico with the wife. It was her first cruise. We had a great time. We went on MSC because Carnival seems like the party ship.
Yeah.
So we went on MSC. Wanted to go on something more mature, more adult. Really completely enjoyed ourselves. Got a nice balcony room. Got to see the ocean the whole way. Had an amazing time. And Mexico's
Balconies are the best, dude.
it's my first time out of the country and probably like a good 15 years.
Damn.
Yeah, because with the military, I was always out of the country, always traveling. So it was my first time out of the country in like I would say almost 50. No, I would say about 12 years. Video gaming, man. I just been on this. I've been on my PS5 Pro. Finally got a disc drive for it.
Nice. Those are
Somebody
hard to
slipped
find.
up. Somebody slipped up at Walmart and returned it, and I got it for $40. I got it for half the price.
Damn. There you go.
Yeah. So and nothing was wrong with it. It was an open box. Walmart was like, hey, and then the lady said, well, she scanned it and it scanned for the normal price, but it was open. The box was all mangled, and she was like, well, we'll just give you half off. And I said, can I take a look at it? And everything was there. She gave me half off, brought it home. It worked. I said, hey, mostly been playing. What have I been playing? Man, I just beat, oh my gosh, man. I've been beating games left and right.
Yeah, I've seen you. I've seen you on there.
Yeah, I beat Stellar Blade. Amazing game.
Amazing, right?
Definitely. I understand when people it was amazing. Really good game. What else did I beat? I think I beat oh my gosh, man. I've been going through. I've been playing I've been playing a little bit of everything, but I played some Switch games, beat them. My Xbox is kind of a shadow, of itself.
Yeah.
It just
we'll get into Switch.
Dude, it sits
Xbox.
Yeah, it sits. Yeah, I've been on my Switch, mostly my PS5. Believe it or not, just looking at all this news coming out, and I know we'll get into it with games possibly coming to PlayStation and 5 and Switch 2. I'm interested in the games. I would say definitely. I'm a huge fan of, as anybody knows, I'm a huge fan of Halo. So if the Master Chief Collection comes to these consoles, I'm definitely going to support it.
It's coming.
Hey, I'm not a port.
It's
Hey,
coming.
I'm not a port.
Works.
Hey, look, I'm not a port beggar. I'm a fan of the franchise, and I'm going to definitely support it because I want to see that franchise live. And I think that hopefully it becoming a multi-plat, and which I've been calling a lot of games coming multi-plat for a while. Some of the Bethesda games we already know are coming multi-plat. But hey, like I used to say back in the day when I was actively really on the podcast hard, let it burn. They're gonna learn. Dude, let it burn.
Frog it burned, and you walked away slow motion like freaking Tom Selleck, just walking away with the thing blowing up.
Bro,
on you.
I'm telling you,
let it burn.
Let it burn. They have to learn at some accords. Let it burn. They didn't learn. There's some companies and look, with all the news that PlayStation and Sony's PlayStation Studios going through, they got to learn too. They got to change their ways.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see them go through the same thing that Microsoft's Xbox game division. Satya had the right idea when he said they should have went multi-plat during the Xbox One generation and saved themselves the heartache. I don't know what's going on with them, and I think that. For me, gaming, I love certain franchises, but I kind of look at it. I'm a realist. If your hardware is not up to snuff, meaning that you've created a market where you've broken up two of your hardware markets. You said, here's something really weak, and here's something strong is the current gen, but you're really not making an effort to produce good software for it. And and I've always said I've always been against Game Pass. I've always been that guy that's been said. Game Pass is going to hurt gaming, and it seems that Microsoft has finally said it themselves. Like, this hasn't grown, this isn't helpful gaming. People don't want this. I've said that from the get go, but I think you have a lot of look. I'm too old to not be delusional. You have a lot of delusional people out there who are still trying to hold on to this thing. Is because Microsoft's failing, it's going to kill the whole game industry. It won't. Microsoft's Xbox goes away, it won't hurt the game industry at all. PlayStation and Nintendo have held this industry up for quite some time.
Yeah,
I don't think Microsoft's Xbox gaming division going away is going to hurt. I think that the only thing it does is people, I think the developers be more critical in the products they choose. And as
Yeah.
we can see, Sony's learning from that.
Well, he said
So,
Microsoft,
but
like their first party, I don't think has like used to have the weight that it used to, like the Halos
Nope,
and the
it doesn't.
Gears, like the Forzas, like they used to carry a lot of that stuff.
And Jazz,
they
and
destroyed their
Jazz, I
franchises.
know back when Halo Infinite came out, I was a big person. I was one of the biggest people with the biggest screaming, hey, this thing needs to be multiplayer. You've killed the franchise. This thing needs, and everybody was like, it's never gone. It doesn't matter. They're going to keep the players. Xbox is dead.
Oh, damn.
Look, Xbox
That's
Xbox
Jay
has
doesn't
been
preaching
dead.
that, right, Jay?
It's been dead.
It's
When I see people on, look, when I see people on X and Twitter talking about the console wars, I'm like, there's no console war. There hasn't been a console war since 2013. It's like, we need to stop talking about console war. It's dead. It's done. It is what it is. The people have made their mind up. PlayStation is where they want to be for their home console, and Nintendo is kind of like the runoff. Like both those consoles can equally be successful and sell hundreds of millions of consoles and billions of software. Microsoft just can't do that. They just need to say, look, we need to become a publisher and put these games wherever we can. Satya had the right idea. You know, he should have said, look, now that you own Activision, and now that you've seen that, and everybody said when Call of Duty comes to Game Pass, it's going to change the tides. Let me tell you something. That didn't do anything. If Call of Duty can't do it, nothing can.
Oh, I got a theory on that whole thing. We're gonna get to that. Like that whole. I'm gonna get to that.
They need to let it be, but that's just my 2 cents.
No, man, Frog, let it all out, man. I know it's been some time. Frog is like he's like a 2 months of shows. He's like, I gotta get all this. I can't get all this out. Yo, J-Dub, how you doing, man?
Boy, doing good, man. Can't complain.
Hey, man, that's awesome, man. And hope, did you see the whole catch any of the football yesterday? Isn't that crazy? All the snow, man. They're freaking snowing all over the place.
Yeah, listen, my Texans, man.
Oh,
They, the Chiefs and the referees cheated them.
Oh man,
They
Chiefs
cheated us as usual.
I hope Buffalo takes care of them.
Yeah,
I hope. Nah. I get to, as a Giants fan, I get to watch the Washington and Eagles play for the championship. It's a good job. And the Giants kept everybody status quo. Like, oh, there's nothing here. We're fine. The coach is fine. Meanwhile, you got two division rivals in the championship game. Good job, Giants.
Yep.
Trash.
Yep.
Goddamn. But yeah, so and that's why. Hey, I want to thank again just to everybody. So yeah, last week we had Tim Dog on. It was an awesome show. He gave us some insight to some of the things that were going on and some of his experiences and how he feels about stuff. So check out that show from yesterday. I did put up a highlight show of some of the things in there with like his meeting with Satya that they had, and and it was pretty wild about Gears going to PC and all that other stuff. So check that out last week. But man, during that show, right at the end, we hit 3,000 subscribers. I can't believe it happened. I didn't even think it was going to happen.
Congratulations, man.
No, thank you, man. I can't. And this is the thing, like. One of the things I like, again, I really don't follow like the subscribers are nice. It goes up, it goes down, like it comes up, but like the thing is that it took a long time to get there, but it is quality subscribers, quality grinders. Like that's the thing. Like, it took long, but I'd rather get people here that want to stay here and want to interact and join in the conversation and stuff like that than just to get a whole bunch of just a number like that. So I don't care how long it takes. Like, is it growing? It's growing. I don't have that Phil Spencer problem. We're growing and we're at 3K. So there we go. 4,000 incoming, right, Mr. Tennis? That's right. But yeah, we don't have the Phil Spencer problem over here. We're not going to sit here and say the channel's not growing. What am I supposed to do? It's not growing. Booty, what's going on, Sarah? Look at you. It's not growing. Like we don't have the growing problem here. We are at 3,000 and we're good. So as you can see from the topics, a couple of topics, and then which is awesome is I have a theory that I wanted to propose to the guests and get their opinion. Also, like things I've just been thinking about because I went through the timelines and about the Sony stuff that we talked about. So I had that show last week as well, Friday. But one of the things that came up over the weekend was this article about these, and let me see, it was these investors that were talking about this, and the elephant in the room of GTA. And basically, they were saying that they were hoping that some industry and analysts, and here's the tweet here, they're hoping, an analyst claims that GTA 6 will cost about $80 to $100. He says that the price hike is needed for market growth and that companies are hoping that GTA 6 will start the trend of all games being more expensive. And so we went through the crying and everything of the $70 games, and just now, a few years or so later, they want now these games to be starting at $80 to $100, and they're hoping that GTA breaks the ice with this. So, Jada, what do you think about this?
I'll be honest. I think that analyst that said that, I think he's full of shit. He is full of shit. Here's the thing: they built their budget of their games based on how many copies they think they're going to sell. $10 extra dollars is not going to make or break a company, and if it does, then you're making the wrong type of game.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about sales. It's about sales, sales, sales. Now, like you said, they moved from what, $59.99
Yeah,
to now $69.99.
yeah, which
And
started
now you want to go to
10-20.
79 and 89 and $100. I don't know if people know it or not, but majority of these games that sell now, a lot of people are buying the $129 pack. You know, that digital deluxe. They
Yes.
buy the
Mhm.
most fancy, expensive
Digital
one.
Deluxe.
But here's the thing: the way gamers think, consumers think, you're buying a full blown package. It's not that they're being nickel and dime out of an extra $10. Sometimes a lot of customers, a lot of gamers, they only have, that $69.99.
Yeah.
So if you go to start charging $100 for games, you're gonna get less sales. It is what it is. You're gonna get less sales, and you're gonna piss a lot of people off, and then obviously PC crowd, you know what they're gonna do? They're just gonna start bootlegging it.
Oh,
and
well,
pirating.
that's not, and that, but you said it's about getting on there. It's only, well, first of all, GTA 6 is only coming out on the consoles for now.
Mhm.
And so it's not even everywhere that they could charge this. The other thing I'm thinking about this GTA thing, and I think there's a lot of uncertainty going on, but the one thing that GTA has hit my microphone. One thing that GTA has a challenge with is the same thing a lot of game publishers have a challenge with. It's trying to beat out the service. See, GTA 6 has a problem here. When GTA 6 comes out, man, what's going on with GTA Online? Are they cutting that off? Are they going to support it? Are they going to upgrade it to GTA 6 online, or GTA 6 is going to have its own online? And are they going to have two competing GTA Online games? I don't know. They never did this before. Like, they never try to fight themselves, like, in the sense. And can they charge $80 just for a campaign if GTA Online remains free, or do they charge for it? But what do they do? Like, I can't believe they'll take those people that invested all those shark credits and all that stuff and just say, hey, thank you for everything. All you guys now, maybe you come in at a certain level on GTA Online 6, but do they continue that service, and do they just keep expanding that world on there? Like, that's one. See what BV said. I thought that they create a universe. Like, I thought I think they should keep GTA Online where it is in LA. Keep that where it is, and then now GTA 6, you could basically take your character and get on a plane and fly to Florida from Miami, and now that's GTA 6 land online, and make it a whole universe. That's what I would. That's crazy, but that's what I would do. So therefore, you could upgrade GTA 6 plus bring over your stuff with you, but you're leaving from California, and then you get on a plane, you head to Florida, Miami, and then you head over there and kind of do it. And now that whole world loads up. That would be pretty wild.
If this new GTA 6, right, it's going to be a new experience on a new engine in the next generation, they have to leave some people behind, because GTA 5 was built on Xbox 360 and PS3 architecture, right?
Yeah.
and they just kept porting it to PS4, and then they ported it to PS. Eventually, they got to let that go. Now, I think they're gonna charge the traditional $69 for the game because that multiplayer is not going to be ready for at least 2 years.
You think they're going to do that again? They're going to delay the multiplayer? It won't be there day
Yep.
one?
Yep. Because they did that. That gives them years to work on the online because the online is where the money is.
Oh yeah,
They
definitely.
can kind of care less about the sales of the copies of the game. That online is going to make up. Those same people who spend $69 for shark cards alone. You remember how many people bought a whole new copy of the game just to have more,
for the shark cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's your status. You get hotels, hanging out there, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the custom games they have in there too is insane.
It's only the analysts, right?
Yeah.
That keep trying to push about the industry needs more money and the games getting like you work within your budget. Every company works within its budget. That's just literally what it is. If the company doesn't think, do you think Sony's going to keep spending 300, 400, 500 million dollars on a single player game if they didn't think that they would sell enough copies to recoup the money?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm all for making profits. These companies, they make a shitload of profit. Don't let them boo-hoo. Don't let them boo-hoo and tell you that the industry can't do this and the industry can't do that.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
went
full
on
of
a rant
shit.
last time about the boo-hoo and about this. Like, make some games that we give a shit about, and then stop crying about boo-hoo because you're copying everything else and saying it doesn't work. Well, you have to shut it down. Well, you copied what was out there already, and you weren't better. So, boo-hoo to you. Like, don't cry about the industry.
If you make a great game, it's going to sell.
And
If you
market
make a
it.
shit game,
J-Dub, that's
it
the other
is
thing.
what it
And
is.
market it appropriately. Like, I feel like sometimes they make these great games, but they really miss the mark on the rollout, on the marketing of it too. And like the any kind of hands-on, the demos, the messaging, what the developer's saying online, what they want to show. Like, I really think it has to be the whole kit and caboodle. Like, it has to be not only a great game, but also rolled out with the red carpet and in the right way and not stumbling. And I feel like sometimes they come out with these great games, great concepts, but then they just stumble on the delivery, or the developer's going wild on X, like saying crazy shit that's hurting his game. And I'm like, yo,
Right. I was going to say, I completely agree. I think that they'll come out with their normal price, 69 whatever version, and then they'll have the $100. They'll have their $130 whatever.
Shark cards.
People will make that decision. I don't think the game's just going to come out at $100 like right from the get-go. And I don't even think that multiplayer is going to be ready until, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think multiplayer is going to be ready until they announce close to a PC version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because that's not
that's 2
that's
years
how
later,
if we
just like you did previously.
right. That's
They did it
how
for same.
GTA works.
Yep.
I think that's how we've looked at it work. Now we may be wrong, but and then maybe they changed. But if you look at their history of launching their game, they kind of say, okay, here's the console version. They get that completely ironed out. By the time that's ironed out, then the PC version comes out, and we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it's selling well, which I predicted it will sell really well. I think that Sony's going to have the marketing to PlayStation, and I think this game is going to blow everything away. And when it comes out, they can really take their time to say, okay, here you go. Here's the full with the multiplayer, and those people that had all the Sharks cards, I think they're going to keep that system in play because they know how to make money. They understand that this game is going to be around for the next 10, 15 years, and people are going to be playing it. They have no rush they have no rush with this game at all. Once it comes out, people are going to be stuck in this game for another decade.
Gotcha.
So we're good. We'll be good.
Yeah. Yo, I see Thrifty came in. Shout out to Thrifty joining us for the 3K extravaganza. How you doing, Thrifty?
What's going on? I am in the presence of greatness. We got J-Dubs, Frogs, and Jez all on the same show. I'm honored. I am
big
honored.
guns.
Dude, congrats
Boy.
on 3K. There is not
thank
a
you so much,
single
man.
person out there that deserves that more than you do. You bust your ass, man. Congrats.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. You're next. You're next, baby. Yo, Thrifty, what did you think about this GTA thing? Would you? And then we'll go around and I'll ask the last question about it. But what do you think about how they're going to roll out this GTA 6?
Okay, so I'm not necessarily against $100 games. I'm against a $100 game that, like J-Dub said, there is no rush for them to make their money back. They're going to make their money back on it.
Yeah.
So doing that just seems greedy. But I do also, I look at the numbers, and back in the day, we were spending $70 on a Super Nintendo game, $80
Yep.
sometimes. With inflation, that's $160. Like, so we haven't gotten taken over the coals like somebody who bought a Honda Civic back in 2000 and paid 10 grand for it. And then later, now in 2025, you're going to pay 30. We're not doing that as gamers. We went up $10 and we rioted.
Yeah.
Like,
I
inflation is a thing. The problem is, though, when a company tries to give us shit and expect us to pay $70 for it, or expect us to pay $100 for it. That's like, would you have paid $70 for Concord?
No.
Well, I did actually. Well, no, I didn't.
It wasn't. What was
No, it
Concord
wasn't
70? I think it was
$70.
40.
but It was 40.
It
Yeah,
was
you're
40.
right. You're right. I thought it was.
But
full
so
price,
it was
yeah.
priced appropriate. Opinion.
And they still
Like,
didn't buy it.
that's
though.
an appropriate price. But you can't give us something like that and expect us to pay full premium price for it.
They do
You
it all the
can't give
time.
us-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't give us games that are broken. You can't give
we
us
saw-
games that are feature incomplete.
Yeah, we saw people like, once that price went up to $70, like, dude, even some of the indie devs are like, oh yeah, we could go for 40 now. It's like, yo, you guys used to be at 10 and 15 and $20. Now these indies, like these little games are like, dude, the games that look like mobile games, they used to cost like $7. So like I see them on the store, they're like 15. I'm like, yo, what the hell, you guys? And these indie devs now, they're like putting their games out for 20, 25. They're like, oh yeah, we're at 40 now. Everybody was going up. Everybody. And there was some games that slipped through the cracks. So like, oh yeah, we're charging 70 just because, let's see if we get away with it. And, and that's why what this guy's saying, like, needed for market growth and hoping that they start the trend. So all games will be more expensive. And you got to realize, like, GTA may break the ice if it does do this, but the thing is that doesn't mean that everything's of GTA 6 quality, and that's the problem that a lot of these other publishers are going to face. It's like, yo, if GTA get away with 100, I don't think we can get away with $100. Like, and we might hurt ourselves by pricing our game that high.
There's very few games or companies that can get by that. Nintendo can get away with it.
Well, Nintendo did with Zelda, right? They did $70 for the what is it, the Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Tears of the Kingdom, yeah.
But that was the
So
only $70
Nintendo can get it.
right? They didn't do
Nintendo
$70 for anything else.
Rockstar can get away with it, and believe it or not, I think Sony can get away with it with specific games like Interstellar, The Last of Us, or something like that, because they make games that people just have to have, right? Like the new Wolverine, right? That's going to be a game everybody will have to have. But I don't want that trend to start because I don't think every game is worth it.
Yeah.
And companies should focus on selling more copies of the game, not a more expensive game. If they really wanted to reach more gamers, they would lessen the price, not raise the price.
Totally agree. And it's like the head of Expedition 33 came out and said our game is being priced at $49.99 because we want every single person who wants to play this game to play this game. That's how much we believe in this story.
Yep.
And they're going to Game Pass too, aren't they?
Yeah.
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 Sorry, Jay.
I think
RPGs
they are.
on.
I think they are. I don't know if they just have the marketing. Xbox just got the marketing.
I thought they're in game. I don't know. I think they're in Game Pass. I think they were on the announcement.
Okay.
I think they were in Game Pass. That's what I know on that Dev Direct because I think it's in Game Pass. But again, not everything on that Dev Direct is
free,
Game
and
Pass.
Xbox guys still won't play it, so it'll be free. And they still
really
won't
cool.
play
I
it. They
remember
don't
when they
like
showed
Japanese
it. Like,
style games.
Yeah, it looks really
it's
cool.
in Game Pass.
I agree.
It's in Game Pass. Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, like, I agree.
Yeah.
We don't need the price of gaming doesn't need to be increased. You have to price the game as it's deserved. So when Concord came out, it should have been a $39 game, or technically it could have been free to play and they could have made money off of like that.
It was
Yeah, it was a
$39 game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was priced accordingly, and I think that it didn't.
And you got all the
content.
content. And you got all the
it was priced accordingly.
You have to,
yeah. So I think that Grand Theft Auto coming out and saying, "Hey, here's a $69 version," people will be happy. But I also think that there's an $89 version and there's a $29 version too. With your freaking money, and you're gonna take that money. You're gonna say, "Hey, people are gonna buy that version because they're like, oh, the online's coming. I'm gonna take my shark card money and just save it up until the online gets here." People
Yeah,
will
well,
do
they're
it.
gonna be like, it's coming. That's why the online's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This
I
is the
agree.
thing too.
Price your
Like,
games appropriately.
and
All games shouldn't be $100.
GTA 5 didn't have any campaign DLC either. So like what will they charge? Like they can't have, what is the gold edition? You get early access, or do you get some deal? They didn't have DLC for GTA 5.
Trust me, they're gonna have about 5 or 6 different editions.
Oh yeah,
They're
I'm
gonna
sure.
have one that's gonna be super freaking expensive.
Dude, they got one that comes with a freaking car.
You know what, J Dub? I don't even know why
Mhm.
the conversation was brought up because every game company does the same thing. They have like three or four editions of their games, and either the game is going to make it or break it. Ubisoft does this all the time. We see what happens with Ubisoft's games. You know, when they come out, they're like, "Well, Assassin's Creed has all this Game of the Year edition," and
Oh,
then
the
like
gold
3 months
edition?
later,
No,
the
you
Game of
never
the Year
go full.
edition
You
is
never go full
$59.
Ubisoft, man. That gold edition, $60 in a month.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
The
saying. Like
gold editions.
the consumers will make a decision based off this. Grand Theft Auto easily is going to sell, but even if you have $100, it doesn't matter what the game price is. But if you just say it's only $100, I think people will look at that, and I don't think that trend needs to start. I think that all games can't be priced at $89 or $99. I think that there's some games out
Yeah.
there like a Grand Theft Auto could be a $69 game for the base game, but then I don't think there's a problem with it. You saying, hey, there's a $99 version or $130
And my thing
version.
is
Because
let me ask you this last question as we go through here.
Mhm.
$80 to $100, would you buy GTA if it's GTA 6? No online, just what it is, GTA 6, $80 to $100. Frogs, would you buy it?
It depends on the content I'm getting. Right. If
Would
it's
you
this,
know- well,
this
yeah, we got obviously
if
we have to
it's
see.
if it's like if you said to me right now, hey, when Grand Theft Auto 5 had came out, would you have bought it for $69 for what you were getting? Probably at that point in time because we hadn't had one in over 10 years. So
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
but with Grand Theft Auto coming out now, and I kind of see what it's kind of shaped up to be. If you're telling me, hey, this is going to be instead of that $69 price point for the base game, they're going to start at $79. Would you buy it? Is a possibility, depending on what I get.
See, I could
If
see them
it's no
put 79.
multiplayer, you see what I'm saying? It depends
Yeah.
on what I'm getting. They really
Well,
the advertising has to really push me.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be their campaign. But J-Dub, what do you think? Would you get it $80 to $100?
Yeah, I'm not finna cap.
Yeah.
Let's face it. 99% of car players would get it if it was $150. Yeah,
That is
some
true.
people will be
Facts.
angry. Some
Some
people will
people
be
buy
here's
it.
the thing.
Exactly. The thrift-
GTA just makes such great games that people don't mind.
Dude, you know it's one of those
playing, They don't
games.
mind spending the money. It's the quality is always there. So until they drop the ball, everybody's going to be with them.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're one of the only people in the industry outside of Nintendo and then Sony's first party that would
probably get away with that.
would garner that. Yeah, can get away with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thrifty, what about you?
I am not a GTA guy, but if it was a different franchise that, like, say they brought Ezio back for like the Assassin's Creed saga and said, "Hey, Ezio: The Lost Years," fuck yes, I'm paying $100 for that. I don't care.
So
I'm
it's
getting
just
it in a
GTA's not
heartbeat.
in your wheelhouse.
Like-
You don't like GTA.
It's just not. But I
Yeah.
would pay $100. But Jez, dude,
For
I only
Ubisoft
buy
games?
3
For
full
Ubisoft.
price games
He's-
a year. So
Thrifty
like,
came on here and said he's going for Ubisoft.
For
Oh,
Ubisoft
shit.
games? Oh,
Thrifty.
man.
so like, yeah. But
he just came on here and said,
That is pretty.
dude,
that's
they'll
pretty
give you a
wild.
bootleg Ezio.
Listen,
they'll give you Ezio with like a
But I was
freaking
very
like a French
specific.
accent.
Like it's not. I was
Oh, beg
specific.
your
It's not
pardon.
any
He's like,
Assassin's
Shock the
Creed
blood,
game.
Ezio.
It's
Like, that's not
Ezio
Ezio.
game.
I get what he's saying.
They give a
As soon as
bootleg,
he
yeah,
said-
but
as
again,
soon-
but no,
as soon as
Thrifty
he
makes a
mentioned
good
the
point in the
Ubisoft
sense
game.
that you
Yeah,
got your
it's pretty
people
funny.
that hey, I'm not paying. They'll go on and yell and scream. I'm not paying $100 for GTA and scream. But meanwhile, $100 of their favorite franchise or something else, they'll gladly go pay it. That's why these people online,
Absolutely.
you can't. You'll have the people just jumping on the bandwagon, but meanwhile, they're just not into GTA. Listen, $80 to $100 is GTA. Hey, if I don't want it to start a trend, but I'll buy it, like, because it's GTA, man. It's GTA 6, and there's so much anticipation, and I want to see more of it. And it's in Miami, like they're hitting all the points there. Like people are dying to go back there since Vice City. Hell yeah, and you know that what you're gonna get in there. You know the detail, like J-Dub said. Like the thing is that Rockstar, there's certain people that can try it, and that's where this an analyst probably is like leaning on. It's like, hey, if it's gonna happen, it may happen with GTA. And just to remember, it happened with Microsoft. Their first $70 game was Redfall.
25. It's coming.
Xbox, no. Phil does.
All right, because they said in December that I can't keep a straight face and realize that they said in December we're increasing the price of our games because of the quality and content, blah blah blah. And the first $70 game was goddamn Redfall. Holy crap! But anyway, because after people complained about 2 years because Sony started doing $70 games and everybody else jumped on there. But yeah, I'm jumping on for GTA. I hope it don't start a trend like who wants to see prices go up. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. If it's worth it, like, guess what? The thing is that as the price goes up, my scrutiny goes up. So like I want to know more about the game because now the game becomes more of an investment. So like if they keep putting these prices up, that's fine. But guess what happens? I have to now know more about your game. Like, this is what I don't never like with these devs. It's like, oh, I'm going to show you less of my game, but I'm asking you more of it. It's like more price. It's like, no. With great power comes great responsibility. You want to increase the price because you believe the value of your game it's such price, then you should be proud to show it and tell me all about it. Don't hide it behind the curtain. And then hopefully pre-order now. Pre-order what? You didn't even show me anything. You show me in render what we think it's going to be. Pre-order today.
I truly agree with you. Totally agree with you.
Because that's why I hate that. They hide their games.
That's what it boils down to. You. If you're showing me a Grand Theft Auto and you're like, hey, this game, first time, $79. That's what the base game is. You have to really show me why I'm spending that $79. I'm not going to say I'm not going to buy it right off because, Grand Theft was a big franchise. And I agree with J-Dub. It's really hard to look at Rockstar and say, damn, they've messed up. Like, I can trust that Grand Theft Auto is going to be a great quality game. And there's some other franchises out there I can say the same about, but there again, you have to really show me why I'm paying that extra $10-$20, and I do agree. Some people are going to be left behind. Like, this is going to be this current generation. People are going to be left behind, and it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But I don't want it to start a trend where all games are $20 to $30 more because I think that will hurt the industry if developers start thinking, hey, we can start charging $80-$90 for these games because your games are going to fail if you start doing that, especially Ubisoft. Like Ubisoft's games should be $49. I'm just going to say it. Their games should be $49 and $39. They need to stop with this BS.
Man, Frog going half price Ubisoft.
I'm just saying, I'm just calling like it is. We can look at their numbers and say they're not selling like they used to. They just aren't.
Well, that's why they're trying to get bought up.
Mm-hmm.
Because now one thing I will say about Ubisoft, they make a lot of shitty games, a lot of shitty decisions, but they do put out like 5-6 different games a year. I mean, they're known for cranking out games.
Yeah, and they're always there at launch. And speaking of launches that they're always at, I am sure Yves Guillemot will be on that Nintendo platform, Switch 2. I'm sure they'll be there, celebrating
Just
that.
Dance. It'll be some stupid
Just Dance. They'll have the guy in the panda suit jumping around.
The rabbits game. It's going to be some.
Josh as member of 22 months, he goes, it's a bad trend. But I'd buy less games, but it won't stop me from gaming. Hell yeah. There you go. Yeah, just exactly. You increase your scrutiny. Speaking of launches and stuff like that, what did you guys think? So the Switch 2. So the Switch 2 got that reveal on that weird day, just like that kind of like snapping around, showing some stuff, just showing the hardware of it, which I thought was kind of weird. 17 million views, I think it got. It's like one of the highest views of there. But what's come now about for the Switch 2 was that there's this leak now that Microsoft will be supporting the Switch 2 heavily. Games in the near future. Now that Nintendo has revealed the Switch 2, gamers are excited even more details. While they may wait to hear more from Nintendo, it seems likely more external sources will take a chance to announce their presence for the updated hardware. Recent leaks have pointed out releases like Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater coming to Switch 2. This game is one of the many others to be there. They're saying that during a stream hosted on the announcements of the Nintendo Switch 2, Brazilian gaming insider Pietro Henrique Luti Lipe, also known as PH Brazil, claimed that the console will be getting a strong line of third-party support from Microsoft. Translations of his statement say, quote, there's more games from Microsoft for Switch 2 that I know of and any other company.
It's coming.
He said he emphasized that there's a lot of Microsoft content heading for the system, encouraging gamers to look forward to seeing more. There's new speculation of what games may make the cut. And, you know, what we've seen already, Halo Flight Sim on the Switch 2. Dude, you know, if Flight Sim launches on the Switch 2, you boot up the game on the Switch 2 and then you just throw it. And that's how you play Flight Sim on the Switch 2. That thing's going to go, it's got to be cloud. But anyway, it sounds like Microsoft is new Ubisoft. Everybody be soft. So there you go. Phil not growing any soft. So here we go. Pause on that one.
It's coming.
But yeah, everybody's soft. So Microsoft will be the new Ubisoft. They'll be there day one. Phil Spencer will love himself on some TV. He'll pop out there. Can't wait. And he'll just be screaming his name. And we'll have our good friend over there see Phil Spencer on Nintendo stage.
Phil Spencer! Phil Spencer!
He's screaming his balls off.
Let's go! Yes!
Phil's at Nintendo. So it sounds like Microsoft will be going all in with the Switch 2. Yeah, so which I think is pretty interesting considering they have their portables, their portable PCs, and they're just going right in bed with the Switch 2. That frosted glass, it's like an addendum to frosted glass. So what do you think? Do you think that Microsoft is going to be all there day one on Switch 2 trying to like take away some, like just trying to like jump on that bandwagon real quick? Being their publisher, like, you know, the publisher that they say they are, the biggest publisher. I'm sure Call of Duty's another one because they promised that for the next 10 years.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they have no choice. This is how they survive. They spent all this money on these publishers and these developers. They need to make that $100 billion back and make it quick. And so they have no choice. They got their teams working.
Sorry, do
Go
you
ahead.
think that they can make it back on the Switch? Like, look at the demographic of look at the type of games that are on the Switch. Look at the type of games that Xbox releases. One of these things don't match the other. Like,
True.
so do you like it's
True,
That's a
but
good
hear
point.
me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. And I'm thinking of the mind, if Microsoft is not going to release any more hardware, right? If they're not going to release a handheld, then the Switch 2 would be the closest handheld that you could play their games on, outside of like the PlayStation Portal, or like this. And if they don't want to go to the Steam Deck or ROG Ally or something like that, I think, and I do think there's going to be a lot of people that buy the Switch 2 that will try to play like Call of Duty. They'll, again, Nintendo hasn't talked about their specs yet, right? If once we find their
even though
specs
they
and we see
leaked, but like the 1.7 teraflops, which whatever it is, but it's probably going to be like the S, right? They're thinking that's the S or weaker than the S. Is that what they're thinking?
Oh, well, it's weaker than the S, but I
Yes,
mean,
yeah.
here's it. It's Nintendo, right? So it is what it is. But apparently, docked, it's like 3 T-flops. So I don't know. I think it would be close to Steam Deck, and if Steam Deck can run games on low settings at pretty decent, why not? You can play those Microsoft games on the Steam
It's
Deck.
only 1080p
just
screen.
fine.
They don't have to push any higher than that, right?
Yeah, and allegedly, right?
Yeah.
DLSS and all that stuff.
All the S's.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Nintendo console alone will give them that $100 billion. I think the bulk of that money is going to come from PlayStation. Because
I agree.
PlayStation gamers, right? A large install base. I don't care what you say. We will be on that Halo, even if it's to poke shit, right? Poke shit at Xbox. We will most definitely be on Gears. We will most definitely be on Forza Horizon 5 and Flight Simulator, especially if it's in VR. We will be buying and playing that shit. Yeah, and 75% of COD players are on PlayStation, so we already dominate the Xbox space when it comes to their games.
You know what, J-Dub, I'm happy you said that that is one of those things. Like I was saying to Jez earlier, like everybody kept saying, "Hey, when it comes to Game Pass, it's going to change." And 75% of COD players are still on PlayStation. That means that people still. I had said that I think that Microsoft putting in Game Pass would be a bad idea at first until they really knew, and they tried to see if it was going to, so-called shit was going to stick against the wall, and it didn't. It
Yeah,
backfired. They lost money. They lost money
yeah,
by putting in Game Pass. It was not a good look for them. People think it was a great idea. It's better for gamers, but no, it's better for the 30 still million people that want to play it in Game Pass. And I don't think it makes them money. I think that it's a bad idea. And I think Satya is at the point where I agree with you. Everything coming will be supported and be dominated by the PlayStation. It's not just because it's a better console, just seems that they haven't with the PlayStation fan base, they haven't been able to do what Microsoft has gave their gamers the mentality. You don't have to own anything. Just get in the Game Pass subscription. When they're not there, don't buy anymore. So
Yeah,
they're
well,
losing
that's
money. They're not in the business of making money, and people have to understand the flip side of this is $1 trillion company backing the Xbox game division. Sony is not that doesn't have that luxury. Nintendo doesn't have that luxury. They have money, but not like Microsoft does. So
yeah.
Microsoft can get away with doing this, and it doesn't really the bottom line. It doesn't hurt them. They can get rid of
Mhm.
Xbox tomorrow, and it wouldn't hurt the bottom
well,
line.
this is the
And so
thing.
when
Like,
people,
oh, yeah, Frank.
I don't. No, I was gonna say I don't think people think about the companies that's to back them. When you're thinking about Xbox game division, you got $1 trillion company to back them. Satya, I believe, I said this at one point, and I think even Phil Spencer alluded to it. If there was no Xbox gaming division, it wouldn't hurt Microsoft overall. But if
Yeah.
PlayStation went away, it really would hurt Sony. It really
Yeah.
would shake up the gaming industry. If Nintendo went away, it would shake up the gaming industry. Losing the Xbox gaming division is not as detrimental as if PlayStation or Nintendo's gaming division were lost. That would really hurt the gaming industry.
It would be
So people are
wild
not
seeing.
thinking.
Oh,
The
that,
reason why
Yeah, go
though,
ahead.
you got to
yeah.
understand why. Nintendo is they're like the kings of the handheld space, right? They're the
Well, they
kings
have a
of
huge
that.
install
Nobody
base,
else.
right?
Agree.
No, yeah, nobody does it like Nintendo. Nobody has ever
I
been able to
totally agree.
compete from there. Same with PlayStation, right? They've ran all the competition since inception, pretty much out of business or out of their lane. They ran Nintendo into a whole different lane, right? So they're the master of the high end console space. Xbox is somewhere they're like the master of none. They became the master of none. They're
I
just
agree.
there.
One of the
They're,
things
they're not.
I think
Go
too,
ahead.
one of those things I think with the Switch 2 is that I'm wondering too with that install base of the Switch 1, this is the first, this is backwards compatible. So I'm wondering by them porting this over to the Switch 2, I'm wondering if Microsoft's going to make their games, I am sure, cross compatible with 1 and 2, not just a Switch 2 exclusive. Because if they want to sell as much as they can, why would they be there for a Switch 2, which is still kind of growing, when they could have an install base of over 150,000 Switches, and they could put it on a Switch 2 and a Switch 1. So I'm assuming they're going to make a cross-gen. That's probably why they're looking at some of their cross-gen games.
I'm gonna be honest, this is just my opinion. I think there's going to be a lot of games that are just Switch 2
You
because
think?
of that hardware. That hardware just
Agree.
can't run on it. You can't run a Hellblade 2 or a
Well, they put a Hellblade 1
Indiana
on the OG
Jones.
Like,
Yeah, have you seen that? Have you played that?
no,
You
it's
see what I'm saying?
horrible. I saw that. Yeah, I
Like,
did see it at PAX. It was horrible.
I just had this discussion last week. I say just because you can, just like The Witcher and just like Mortal Kombat, just because you can throw a port together just to have the name Mortal Kombat or Witcher on there, doesn't mean that it's actually going to sell and be playable
But
and
it
be
didn't.
worthwhile.
But the thing is Microsoft is in desperation. They're throwing every. But J-Dub, look at if they're really saying about all these Microsoft games going to PlayStation, going to Switch and PlayStation. I really think Microsoft is slapping this shit together as fast as they can to get this stuff out there. Like, they made this decision recently. So, like, I really think that they would just slap some shit together and get it out there, because if they're going to try to, if there's rumors that they're putting this whole thing out there, there's no calculated releases, man. They are like, empty the bin. Dude, send this thing out.
Jess, how about this, Jess?
That's why I don't think it's going to sell like crazy. I just think they're going to be there.
This is my counter. They didn't just make this decision out of the blue. Remember, Microsoft had PS5 dev kits. They had already signed the
A year and a
deal
half ago, yeah.
prior to 2020. Because remember, Rare said, remember the frosted glass they were
Yeah.
hiding.
Well,
They had the dev kits prior to 2020. They had signed the deals, right? Obviously, NDAs and stuff to do deals with Microsoft. That was last gen. That was at the end of last gen. That's when that had to. So it's not like they were just doing this. Okay, we'll get the dev kits. We'll just do this specifically just for Sea of Thieves. No, because what came with Sea of Thieves? You had Grounded. You
Pentiment.
had Pentiment.
Yeah,
You
Pentiment.
had As Dust Falls. You had a couple of other games, right? That were ready to go.
Hi-Fi
And
Rush.
it's not exactly Hi-Fi Rush. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like they just took this turn. No, they've been planning this a while back. This was before the ABK deal,
You
right?
think?
They've been
No,
planning
I
on
thought they switched this up a year and a half ago when they were after right before the ABK deal signed
this. Mhm.
in October. I thought it was summer of that year where he sat there at that interview with GameSpot and basically sat there with Jeff Grubb, Gamers Mankind, and sat there and they were talking about how he played Fable. They were arguing about the gameplay, and then at that time they were working on that stuff to be announced. They were working on that. I didn't remember they worked back in 2020. I think they're still going the exclusive bandwagon until then.
I'm going
Because
by
remember,
based on
Jada,
what
they went
actual
into
developers
Bethesda and
from
told them
Rare.
to stop making the PlayStation versions.
You're
They
my
weren't
number
building
one
Frosted
customer.
Glass.
No. Listen, I agree with that. But just because they say, "Hey, stop working on this," doesn't mean that obviously they had to green light the other stuff that they wanted to work on, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think the decision was fully made to be third party just yet. But the fact that they had PS5 dev kits prior to 2020,
You're
because
my
we
number
know
one
that
customer.
because the damn the Rare devs came out and did this long talk. I mean, they were so excited and happy, and they came out and
Oh, they were
spilled
very
the beans.
happy.
They spilled the bean, and I was shocked because they said we started this in 2020. That means Satya and Phil and them had to sign the paperwork to get PS5 dev kits prior to 2020. You know, you gotta sign contracts, you gotta figure out how you're gonna do all of this stuff. And it wasn't just Rare because obviously more
No,
games
it's
came
all of
at
them.
the
I
same
remember
time.
Zuby putting out a thing about that year, saying like early last year, saying they ordered a whole bunch of more dev kits. Like, I'm not saying that they ever had dev kits,
Well,
but
they
I think
they expanded, obviously, right?
support is
Yeah.
like. But J-Dub, don't you think that if this is really coming to fruition, they want to be there strong for the Switch 2, and they have all their stuff ready to go? Like, it's pretty crazy that
Well, you
that
know
the
what that
Switch has been
means, Jess? That
sit there.
means prior, right? That means they've had the Switch 2 dev kits
Oh, I'm sure
for
they
quite
have.
some time.
Or the Switch. Work on that one.
Yes. Well, that too. But I think because remember they signed a 10-year deal with Nintendo to get games over there. But everybody
it was just
knew
Call of
the
Duty.
games.
It was just Call of Duty.
Yes.
It wasn't a Master Chief Collection. It was
Oh,
just
no, no.
Call of
Oh,
Duty.
trust me.
It's just
Trust me. Trust me. It wasn't just Call of Duty. We
But
know
that's
that
what
because
it was, dude. They made it public. They said it was Call of Duty
Yeah.
for 10 years. That was it. It was a
And-
Master
and
Chief
Jess,
Collection and Flight Sim.
Yes, it was just 4 games, huh? It was just 4 games, right?
I know,
I
but
mean-
the thing is that they like. I think that Jay, how do you think that you think they did this? Like, they've been thinking about this for years? I think they just figured this shit out a year and a half ago. They're like, yeah, we need this to survive.
I'm gonna tell you exactly how I think
It's a
it went down.
business.
I think there was Phil's side in not wanting to do it. He wanted to give it more time to try to get Game Pass going. And then you have Amy Hood's side and Satya's side that's saying, we need to pay this $100 billion back, and we're not going to spend 10 years
after the
dicking around with
ABK deal,
Xbox.
Amy
And
and
no,
the Hood
because
came
remember,
back.
Jazz, you're forgetting, Jazz. Remember, we know because the email leaks said that they had to be by 50 million Game Pass subscribers by
Yeah.
2025. They had to be at 100 million Game Pass subscriber by 2030. And neither of those are going to happen. And they saw this. They saw the trend. They know Game Pass been stagnant. Remember, it was so bad that Satya Nadella had to remove his
Removed
bonus
it, and I
structure from it.
have the quote from
Right?
Phil
Thank you,
saying that he dropped
Yes.
it.
So why does
Yes.
nobody remember that? I don't understand why
Oh yeah,
nobody
Satya
remembers
dropped
that.
that
Yeah.
shit, and then they stopped talking about growing.
So if Game Pass was growing, as they say publicly, and everything is hunky dory, why would your fucking CEO remove Game Pass structure
'Cause it's
that
not
was
growing,
put there in
dude.
the first place?
There's not
He
growing.
put that
nothing.
there in the first place to make the investors rest assured that everything was hunky dory. Well, after about 3-4 years of him and Phil not getting bonuses, Satya said, "Fuck that! You can leave your bonus structure there, but I'm taking mine out because this shit is just not
I'm
gonna
taking mine out.
do
That's
what it's
right.
gonna do."
Yo,
And
Agreed.
again,
I
it's just my personal opinion based on the things that I've seen. If the email leaks would have never happened, and if Rare themselves didn't come out and tell us that they started with the whole process of secretly porting this stuff to PS5 and I mean just secret room with the frosted glass and nobody knew what they were
Yeah, they were
doing.
sneaking
They
in
were
back door.
super so excited.
they were sneaking them
Yeah.
in.
They, dude, it was so super secret, and they were so
Yeah.
excited,
They couldn't
to
wear any
do it.
PlayStation attire. They couldn't wear anything. They had to sneak them in the back door to the frosted
Yeah,
glass.
and nobody knew. And guess what? They were so excited once it happened, and then I started thinking about it. Well, if that happened with Rare, then what other games came to PlayStation at the same time? And I started thinking about Hi-Fi Rush and all this other stuff.
Well, they shut that
D-
down.
But
They didn't
here's the
even
thing:
get
PlayStation, Sony owns Port Studios. They own Bluepoint. They own Nexus. They own a bunch of other things. Their only job is to port stuff, right? So they can do it much quicker. Microsoft don't own Port Studios, so their developers have to spend their time. That's why it takes a. It's probably
Yeah,
gonna.
that sucks. Yeah,
it-
they
It's gonna,
split them up.
that's the reason. It like people say, well, why these games haven't came yet? Trust me, they're cranking them out, but it takes them a lot longer than Sony because they don't have dedicated people to just fucking sit around. They
Yeah.
have to port these games, then they have at the same time where they have to actually make new games. So
Mhm.
I just
another
assume that's why.
and another thing I don't think a lot of people these aren't the same studios that Rare is not the same, just like BioWare is not the same. It's not the same group of people
The
that
original.
made these
Yeah.
games from the past. These are younger people. A lot of these people who have left the studios have went to make their own studios and went on to other projects. They no longer want to work because they don't believe in the vision. And
Yeah.
I think that's also the thing that's hurting a lot of these studios, not just Microsoft studios, the studios in particular. Like you have a lot of
Yeah.
people who are just they're leaving. They're just like, we don't
Yeah.
believe in the vision anymore.
Remember the
Yeah.
18 month Microsoft
Right.
got
Go
that
ahead.
18-month rule that the developers gotta leave like after 18 months
Right.
because
Oh, they were using
they
it.
don't want
Right.
to pay them the insurance and all kinds
So
of
so
stuff.
we really can't we really have to keep in mind, Nate, some of these same COD developers are not some of the same COD developers who have been there since the beginning.
Well, that other guy
These are
left,
new
right, from
people.
Sledgehammer. He just left after all those years.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from Sledgehammer, he just left. Let me get the Game Night 123 with the 10. He goes, how much third-party support do you think the Switch 2 will actually get, especially as we get further into the generation? Like, you're not going to see The Witcher 4 on the Switch 2, for example. So what do you think? Do you think third-party is going to... I'm going to give my answer. I think Game Night, I think the Switch 2, everybody's coming. It's all coming.
I think
They're all
Yeah.
going to the Switch 2. Third party there's no waiting period for the Switch 2. And the worst case scenario, they'll make it backwards compatible with the Switch 1 and know that install base is there. Because you're going to have these cross-gen games, I am sure, with the Switch 1 and 2. And they have that install base there. So I wouldn't be surprised if third party hits it hard at first. Maybe if the Switch 2 doesn't sell as crazy as the Switch 1, which I think, I was thinking about this too, just discussing the Switch 2. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to sell, blow up as much as the Switch 1 did, because now it's a new landscape now, right?
I think the adoption rate is going to be very
it's
slow.
going to be slower,
just
right?
like we've had a slower PlayStation
sell,
is
but
a
I don't
phenom
think at the
because
same rate.
number one customer.
we've had a slow adoption rate with most of these consoles compared to the last generation. But I think if the Switch was a drastic technical difference, it would have had a faster adoption rate. But I don't think it'll be as fast just because I think they're still going to do a lot of cross-gen games.
I think so.
We're going to get a
You
lot
got
of games.
160,000. That's always the problem when you have such a huge. And the PlayStation felt this too with the PlayStation 3 to the 2, the 2 to the 3, and with the 4 to the 5. Like you have such a huge install base of people that you can't just cut them off. And also, this Switch 2 is one of the first ones in a long time that have been cross compatible. Nintendo usually cuts that shit off. They're like, cut it off. Except with the Wii U, they kept it. But the GameCube, they cut it off. Super Nintendo, N64, they like cut, move on.
I'm going to tell you guys this. I think the days of having generations where everything is cut off, I think that's done. I think we can, the back, like you said, the back in the PS2 days,
they cut that thing off real quick.
Yeah, and the only reason the PS3 is because the architecture was different. Now everything is on x86. There kind of is no reason to.
Agree.
PlayStation could have forced everybody. They could have forced everybody, but then they'll be, in the meantime, until people go out and buy it, they'll be losing a lot of money. And these companies, because they complain games are so expensive, they're not just not going to do it. Now, eventually, as the install base rise, there's less incentive. Obviously the third parties are gonna do cross-gen forever.
I think so.
You're gonna play
they will.
Madden 2K, football club, all that stuff. That stuff has always been supported. Hell, they were still supporting the Vita versions forever. They were
it's going to be very interesting in how they do it. But I think third party is going to hit the Switch too hard. I think so. Like I think, especially, but also you got to think of the landscape too. There are other devices now that are now replicated from the Switch's success, like the Steam Deck, like these portable PCs, like even things like the portable and whatever Xbox wants to make. Like there are these things already existed right now. So like the Switch 2, and it has its own predecessor sitting there. So like and that's been out there for years. And also you got to think too, like it's sort of, if they price this thing at $400 coming out there, are they going to spend, are the kids who are playing the Switch, like I have two of them for the kids. Yeah, for the kids, I'm going to go out and go get a $400 one for the kids if their Switch 2 is working. You got to remember, there is the family aspect and the kids that play a lot of the Switch 2, and they're not lining up for the most intense graphics ever. It's really going to be the games. And if Nintendo cuts that off for their games, like going, hey, every game from us now is only Switch 2 exclusive, then you'll probably start seeing that migration over there. But I do think that the third party is going to hit this thing hard. Switch 2 is going to have huge support, more so than the Switch 1. Switch 1 was an experiment, and it took a few years for developers to realize, hey, this thing is hot. And when they saw the sales of it, how fast it was growing. The Switch 2, that confidence is there already, and all the devs now finally are getting that extra power, and they're going to be able to try to put whatever they can onto the Switch 2. And then Baldante has the answer for the $10. He just said right here, there's the answer right here for Microsoft. Microsoft will utilize the Xbox Velocity architecture to downgrade all their games. Holy crap, I forgot about that. Baldante with the facts. There you go. They'll still just remember scalability. They'll just scale it down. And then we have True SSJ Hawk being a VIP grinder. There he is. Thank you so much.
25. It's coming.
He's here. True SSJ Hawk is a VIP grinder. Welcome to the VIPs. Flex those emojis. And then Sign My Ass. Oh, man. There he is. Where's my sound clip? Where is he? Sign My Ass gets his own.
Great ass!
There he is. With the Seek 100, he goes, Phil realized he's working in a business and not just boasting around for himself. Well, Sign My Ass, he's actually going on a bunch of shows at the end of this month. Satya told him, and he never heard a word from business. Satya told him, and he had never heard the word business before. What a revelation for Phil Ness.
Xbox, no. Phil does.
Yep. Well, guess what? Phil's doing his tour. He's already on Dusty Bin show. They're gonna bake a cake, bake some cookies, and then he's going over to he's gonna be on Gamer Tag Radio's interview with Paris. They're gonna blow smoke up his ass for an hour. So there you go. Talk about how this is great. Put your games everywhere. You're on every street corner, but it's still not growing. And one of the things too for this Nintendo thing before we leave, and I'll get Thrifty's opinion on it. But one of the things is that this push from Microsoft to the Switch 2, you got to remember, They're talking about being everywhere for this last half decade or whatever. They've been on, and I said they were on everything. They were on phones. They were on. Now they're on LG TVs. They were on Samsung TVs. They're on every PC. Game Pass comes with every laptop, every desktop, every graphics card you buy. Like, they are everywhere to begin with. The only places that they are not is a PlayStation and a Switch. And I think they were waiting for that day where they could put their Game Pass on there, and Nintendo and Sony made it hard for them, and they said, nope, we're doing good. We don't need your shit. And now they realize that they need to get their games over there. The only place that's left are those two places, and then there you go. That and an Ouya, but Ouya's not around. So there you go. So now they're like, hey guys, let's just make the games and put them on the Switch and PlayStation, because that's the last hope that we have to put our games anywhere else to potentially sell them. And on top of that, they actually could sell their games over there, where those other devices, they're trying to still sell the $20 a month Game Pass service. So if you say your LG TVs and Xbox, yeah, for $20 a month and a controller that you got to buy. So, and you're streaming over the power of LG Wi-Fi. Oh my goodness, that is some filness right there.
Xbox, no, Phil.
But this is it. This is their last ditch effort, and you know, I don't think, and people in the chat agree, and you guys, like, I think it's gonna do something. Like, hey, they'll sell a little bit, but considering how much they have spent and how much they are behind, like somebody said, they are like years behind the way they're talking. Dude, I feel like this is just the last hurrah for them, just to kind of say, hey, put everything we have, our whole legacy, everything that we ever built, everything game that we ever made, and just put it over to a Switch and PlayStation. We're cutting ties. Just let it go, Elsa style, and just put it over there, and let's see what happens. And they tried 4 games. They did what they did. And this is the other issue. Thrifty, I'm going to ask you this question. Microsoft's thrown all their games now on a Switch 2. How do they stand sitting next to Mario Kart 9 and Metroid? If you are a Switch 2 owner and you see Metroid, Flight Sim, all other things that they're, what are the other games that they said they were going to put over there? What the hell? I don't even know. Pentiment.
For the Pentiment.
All the Microsoft shit, even Master Chief Collection. And then Mario Kart and Metroid.
Well, they're not competing anymore.
Yeah,
what are you buying? Like, what as a Switch 2 owner, what are you buying when you see like those games?
I can tell you as a future Switch 2 owner, because I have a kid who has the Switch 1, and once he saw the damn trailer for a Switch 2, I now lost $400 in the future. Like, it's gone no matter what the price is. I gotta buy one. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna get Mario Kart.
There you
Easy.
Go. Same.
And then I'm gonna find games for myself like Zelda, and I'm gonna play it on there. I don't give a fuck. Sorry, I don't give a rat's rip about anything that Microsoft is porting over, except no cap Halo. I want to play Halo 1, and I want to play Halo 2, and I want to play Halo Reach. That's it.
I think you're right. Thrifty, I think the only game that I think everybody kind of wants is that Master Chief Collection. If they had to add a game to their library on a Switch or on a PlayStation, Master Chief Collection, after all these years of them fixing it, after it broke for 4 or 5 years and they left it there to die, and then they decided to fix it when they ported it to PC, which I called, Frogs, you were there on Planet Xbox when I said they're fixing it to put it on PC, and everybody was screaming at me. Frogs wasn't. Frogs was on my side, but the other two were screaming at me saying, why would they fix it? They're fixing it for I'm like, no, they're fixing it to put it on PC. Why would they just leave this thing to die for 5 years? And now all of a sudden Master Chief is in the news again. They're fixing it because they were getting ready for PC release, and they didn't believe me Halo would come to PC. And those are the tapes back then from 7 years ago. I was like, nope, that's what they're doing. And they did it.
And before people say that we're port begging and all that, J-Dub said it earlier. We're not port begging. And I'm going to add to it. We're not port begging. We are opportunists. Like, if I have the opportunity to play that, I am going to play that on my PlayStation.
With your library that you have already. Like, that's the thing. Like,
and
They are coming to. What's hilarious is that they are going where the gamers are, and the gamers are not in their wheelhouse anymore. This is everything. Yeah. This is the same move they made with Steam, putting their games on Steam because nobody was coming to Windows Store for their games. And now they had to go where the gamers are. And now they're sitting there with their hands in their pants, looking at console sales, looking at their growth, and going, guys, we need to go where the gamers are and where we have a potential to sell, and that is on Switch 2, and that is on the PlayStation. That's it. And they're going where the gamers are. So we're sitting there with our libraries of games where we chose to play, and Microsoft is knocking on our door saying, can I come in for a bite? And that's what it is. Nobody's begging Phil to knock on the door. Hey, if you're going to put Master Chief with DualSense features and adaptive triggers and pro support, shh. Here you go, Microsoft. My favorite franchise. Thanks for bringing it to where I game now, and that's it. I'm not begging, but hey, if you're gonna give me the goods, the best the legacy of 25 years that you've been carrying, and now you realize you're just gonna put it on a street corner and just sell it to everybody. I'll take it.
I said back in November when the PlayStation 5 Pro got released that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be the greatest thing for the Xbox game studios, point blank, period.
I agree.
Like, it's not even close because we are going to get all the adaptive trigger functions. We're going to get the best of the best.
It's crazy, dude.
They're going to be fixing their games for us because we don't deal with that type of bullshit. Like, we just don't. We're different. Like, we'll move on and play something else because we have all of the options.
That's the thing. Options, right? Now you got all the options. There you go. And it's just like, it's coming to, I don't have to say it.
It's coming.
It's coming. There you go. Steven Leon, what's up, man? Member for 11 months. He's going on to his 1 year membership. He goes here, I don't want any one of the Xbox shit. Did not play it on PC or Xbox. I will not support Microsoft. Learn my lesson with Infinite. Oh, damn. There you go, Steven Leon. Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing, Steven. Master Chief Collection was probably, after they fixed it, it's probably the best thing there, and it is light years better than what Infinite was. Infinite was a piece of shit. It was a disgrace. It upset me as a Halo fan. I have plenty of shows talking about how that upset me. The story was horrible. Everything they did with Cortana, with the Guardians, they wasted everybody's time in a stupid seek. It's Halo, the search for service. And that's what they did. And they didn't do any DLC. It was horrible. Halo Infinite, don't use that to describe of the Halos of the past. That's all my advice to you, Steve Leone. As a diehard Halo fan, Infinite was a disappointment. Bootleg Joel, we're never going to find out what happened to him. And do not use that to go back. But yeah, go to Master Chief Collection is a great collection. And if they do a Gears collection and people like Gears and stuff like that, like this is them. And I'm telling you, as soon as they announce this shit going to you see Gears of War on a PlayStation or a Switch 2, dude, I don't care how much we've talked about it and we've seen it on X, shit will hit the fan. Like, it's like, dude, we told you it was coming.
25. It's coming.
They said they're learning. They said more's coming. And when they see it in text, like Halo Studios, Pierre, that's right. I'm going to put Halo on the Switch 2. I can't wait. There's a great opportunity for Halo Studios. He's going to come out there, Pierre, and announce it coming to the Switch 2. And then the PS5 Pro, the support with the adaptive triggers. I'm gonna be Pierre's gonna go wild. Those are direct quotes.
So let me ask you this.
The direct quotes.
Let me ask you this real quick. I gotta run this by y'all. So I was doing a little bit of research while y'all were talking, and it's the rumor that there's going to be some sort of upscalers, probably some sort of modified DLSS, all of that. What happens when the Switch 2 runs the Xbox games better than the Series S?
Yep. And it will happen.
Shit.
It will happen. It will happen
Xbox,
because the Switch 2 has 12 gigs of memory, has more than enough memory, unlike the Series S.
Which 10 gigs of split memory. Go ahead.
Yes. So It will. It is. Now, here's the thing. At this point, guys, I'll be honest. It's over. Those guys are most of them have already accepted the fact that all the games are coming. Um,
It's
I just think right now you got, the last few diehards like Colt and Gaz and the rest of those guys that just, they try to play the
they're
both
on the
sides. Well, I'm
PC,
on
poking in their
PC.
Xbox, dude. They've moved
Yeah,
on. Everybody's moved on. I think they're all moved on.
yeah, but I think if the average Xbox fan now, they've already accepted it, and they're like, well, at least it's in Game Pass, so I don't really have to pay anything for it.
That's it.
You know,
That's it.
and,
That's
and I
it.
think
That's
that's their.
that's
I
it.
think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the best angle that they can go, and rightfully so. If they don't have to spend any large, you know, sum of money, I think they're okay.
Dude, this guy Xstars1S claims that Diablo, this is a quote that they found somewhere on some forum, that Diablo 4, Starfield, Microsoft Simulator, Halo, Fallout 4, Tekken 8, and Elden Ring are coming to the Switch 2 and Call of Duty. That's wild. Diablo, the Starfield Switch 2. Well, they had no problem releasing at 30 frames on their own console, so why not? Yo, hey man, this is a wild time, man. They are the publisher. That is it. Like that is what they need to do. But the problem is that their marketing and their the problem Microsoft is having is that they are still trying to run a console business while being a third-party publisher. And it's like you got to choose. Like you can't talk out both sides of your mouth because it's like. So you're just going to leverage Game Pass, but then Game Pass is not only on the console, but then Game Pass is also $20 a month. It is not no $10 dropping a pot. Like, here you go, $10. It's $20, and I'm sure it's going to go up even more. This is what I hope. Nintendo, please have some sort of boot up screen with all your games, because I want to see Mario coming out there and go, it's a me, launch Switch 2, and then Halo. Oh, I'm like, holy shit, this is being crazy. Like, having a Mario launch title. Like, yeah, you have like a launch
Mario's
screen.
gonna come up and give Master Chief one of the flowers, and then he's gonna start shooting the fireballs.
Pick up your pants, Chief. It's a me. Don't hang those things balls out your face. Pants up, Chief. Yahoo!
I'm so happy, and I know we're going to get there later, but I'm so happy that during the Shuhei interview, that when he talked about them with PlayStation 3 and how he was like, yeah, we thought we were going to have to shut the doors, really. I'm so glad that PlayStation didn't just go, hey, let's pour ourselves out to every single person out here, because we're just going to stick our toes in the sand and be like, hey, we're digging in deep. We're going to make it work. And no, they said, hey, guys, we're going to lower the price of our games. Please buy our shit. We are so sorry we fucked up. Here, take some more. Please come back.
That's right.
And stay with us. And then they did.
Well, they made the game. They made the games, and they brought back their
They
stuff.
good games.
So I got here's, just before we leave the Xbox is everywhere thing and going on the Switch 2, our good friend Mr. Yellow Chair Paris, he had a quote here. He says, and he's trying to do the damage control, because he's getting ready for the Phil Ness interview, because Phil's coming, and Phil's gonna basically come down from the rooftops like Mickey Mouse. Oh boy, here he comes. He's gonna be on their show. He's gonna celebrate with them, and he's paving the way for them. And he says, the last I checked, Xbox is still making Halo, Gears of War, Forza, Fable, Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty. This is only a bad thing for people that need to brag on the internet about their favorite brand selling more than your brand, because people are upset saying that they're the biggest third-party publisher, but their platform will fail. Great for Microsoft and shareholders, terrible for gamers. And he's like, well, they're still making these games, and they're coming to Game Pass. Well, here you go. But then he had this one.
Sir, Sarah Bond or Matt.
Tell him right there, Barris.
It's going third party. No.
Wait a second. Wait, they're not going third party.
It's going third party. No. They're not going third party. Now, if there comes a day where Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond or Matt Booty come out and go, we've made the decision that we're bringing Gears of War, Halo, Forza, I don't know, Avowed, Starfield. Like, in other words, if all of their core major AAA exclusive IPs all of a sudden start showing up on Nintendo and PlayStation platforms, go ahead, get your pitchforks out. I understand the outrage, because at that point, why is Xbox even making hardware?
Boom. There you go. He says, get your pitchforks out if those games are going to other platforms. And he says, because then the reason why is, what is the point of Xbox even making hardware? He says,
Xbox even making hardware. Just be a third-party company.
Then they're a third-party company, but they're not doing that.
But that's not what they're doing.
But that's not what they're doing. So he is now back on the Kumbaya bandwagon that, hey, we're still getting these games. They're still making them. But back then, he's like, hey, if those games show up, if those IPs show up other places, then get your pitchforks out, because why are they even making hardware? But now the person actually said that to him, saying, hey, the third-party publisher, but it's not good for their platform. Their platform will fail. He's like, no, it's fine. Like, this is the hypocrisy that people can't stand from the media influencers and stuff. It's like, don't stop damage controlling every friggin'. Come up with your own opinion. It sucks, okay? If you are an Xbox fan, this whole shit sucks, because you built 25 or so years of them, and this is their identity, and now they are now putting their shit everywhere because they made bad decisions. While they made you wait for games for years and looked like they were opening up their wallets and spending some money, and they made you get all excited that they were spending money. But now, all their identity is going there, and he said it himself. What is the point?
I understand the outrage, because at that point, why is Xbox even making hardware?
Why are they even making hardware if their IP is going to other platforms? He said it there. But therefore, he says it here. It's only bad for people to brag on the internet. You said, why are they even making a hardware if those big IPs go to other platforms? Like please.
Can I add that he's only saying this shit because they're getting their ass kicked? Like, can we just be honest?
Yes. Yeah, let's just be honest. Like, at this point, I mean, like, we already know why he's saying it. My personal opinion is, you know, the Xbox gaming division as a hardware manufacturer, they need to be done. Go the way of Sega, be a publisher. You bought all these companies for what reason? Become a publisher, you know, and you can still put games in your hardware, but stop continuing to make hardware. You know, you're sitting at, you know, almost 30 million, and Sony's almost close to 70 million. You're not catching up. There's no gap closing. You know, PlayStation will continue to keep going forward, and they will hit 100 million this console generation. Nintendo will come out with their new hardware, and they will hit 100 million. You're never going to hit that mark, and it's not because you have bad hardware. It's because of the way you dictate the Game Pass service and software. You're not selling. You cannot treat the game industry like Netflix and Amazon and say, hey, subscription-based gaming. It doesn't work like that. I've said that from the beginning. It doesn't work like that. And even with streaming is not at the point, and I think we said this way back when, streaming is not the point. It's not the future yet. It maybe someday will be there. We're leagues and miles away from that. Until everybody in their home can have, you know, gigabit plus internet service, people are not going to stream games on the fly until we can close that latency. So the preferred way of gaming will be on the, you know, one or two platforms. It will be on Nintendo and Sony's PlayStation. Microsoft needs to become the publisher that they're deemed to be.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with that. And you know, my personal opinion is
they've been pulling that band-aid
I'm gonna say this, Jez, and I'm gonna stop. Because some people are gonna have their feelings hurt when I say this. I will support anything that comes from Microsoft, a Gears of War, a Halo, a Fable, not port begging, because I like those franchises and I think they have not done justice to those franchises over years. So I will support that stuff because I'm a fan of Master Chief, Halo, and so forth, not because of port begging. I think that those franchises deserve better than they're getting. And if you can find a whole new foundation on PlayStation or Switch, I support it. I support it. I don't support when people.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say I don't support.
I got a question then.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the problem with them being a third-party publisher. Currently, with their first-party studios, not their acquired studios, but with their first-party studios,
right?
Their Halo studios, right? Places like that. Those games have come out and they have been dog shit at release. Therefore, even if they say, hey, no more console and we're going to go full third party, what's to say that when they release Halo on Unreal Engine 5, that it's not going to
There's
come
not
out
it's
as
not
hammered
pure
dog shit?
peace. I completely agree with you. I completely, and I thought about that too, but I think that you have to relegate the series. You have to get. I think that Halo has enough staying power, and I said this before. Halo itself, the name Halo, has enough staying power that you release it and you say, "Hey, now it's a multi-plat." You gain a new you gain a new fan base of people that may have never played that franchise because it's only been stuck over there. So going forward, that's up to them. But I think that you have to start with, "Hey, it's here, it's on PlayStation, and it's on Switch, and this is what we got." And I think you have to start there. And I guess the bigger question is, do you release every single Halo game? Like, do you release all up to Halo 5 so people really know, or do you just release the Master Chief Collection? That's the question I ask myself is like, how do you release this and how you have people really know this franchise? Because you have part 5 that's stuck over there that, it was okay, but it wasn't super well received. I honestly just look at that and the bigger question. That's why I think that with Gears, they're doing a prequel because I think they want to reboot that whole franchise and sell it to a whole new fan base. So maybe they should do the same thing with Halo, or maybe they just say, you know what, we're just going to come out with Halo 6 or 7 or whatever they're going to call it. So
Yo, let me just shout
we
out
have to trust in the development going forward, because at this point we know that most of their games, Perfect Dark and all these other games, there's an Oblivion remake in the works. Well, these games are going to go to PlayStation. We can see that the Game Pass has failed. It's not selling, so we have to trust in their work ethics of being a publisher, no longer a hardware manufacturer. If they leave, maybe they have more staying power to say, okay, now we can navigate as a publisher, and we don't have to worry about competing in the hardware space because we're just going to be on LG TVs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nah, hey, dude, that's they made their bed and they're sleeping in it right now. They're trying to figure out how to make that money back. But I got to shout out the Steven Leone with the 20 membership bomb. That brings us to 120 more members needed for the next emoji. Thank you, Steven Leone. He's chipping away at it. We're on our way.
Thank you for the VIP membership. Bomber is for harder than the internet.
He got a whole bunch of people.
Thank you for the VIP membership.
Get him, Steven. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Bomber is for harder than the internet.
Yo, thank you so much. J-Dub keeps coming in and out. J-Dub, you okay? Is Discord messing with you?
Yeah, I'm back now.
I gotta try to get you in here so you don't have to do that. I gotta figure out how the hell to get you in here without. I don't know. I don't know how to use the Discord shit. Thrifty needs help. Oh, there we go. You know what? There you go. I think I can fix it now. But so, one of the next topics I wanted to get into here is this thing that came by. Shout out to who sent this to me? This was let me get back into it. It was Lunchy Sky. Shout out to Lunchy. He sent me this article that was going around, and this is pretty interesting. The numbers from GameIndustry.biz showing the market values of games, and pretty interesting. Here, I'll show it to you guys. Here, we got console gaming at 50.3 billion. 27%. We have PC gaming at 41.5 billion, 23%. And then mobile games at 92.5 at 50%. It's pretty wild that console gaming is bigger than PC gaming market value wise, which you would think that the install base of PC to over just the, they keep minusculing the consoles like, oh, it's the same 200 million people. That's all we get. We only get the same people. The same people. We gotta grow. They're not doing too bad compared to, and this is what I mean. Like, you got PC, but not everybody's gaming on PCs. There's so many purposes of PC. There's content. There's streaming. There's creativity. There's so many things that not every PC is gaming. So it's very hard to quantify that, and you see, it's not everybody. I would like to know what percentage of those PC games market values of all PC sales. But what's interesting is that the smaller install base, and what's crazy is that the one time Phil Ness was not lying. Phil said it right here. He said it before.
About console is it's your highest value gamer. It's your person who plays the most, they buy the most.
The console is the most valued gamer. They play the most, they buy the most. And you say they're spending on consoles. Absolutely. They got accessories. This is gaming. So they got games they're buying. And hey, there it is. So very interesting numbers for 2024. And then your mobile games are dominating at 50%, where that's everybody's been talking about mobile games. And you got to make mobile games to get over there. Streaming a console game to a phone is not a mobile game. So
but Jez, you got to understand. Looking at the numbers, it makes sense for mobile games, right? Because there's billions and billions and billions of games out there
and tons
for
of
that, right?
And everybody got a phone.
It's so easy to make a mobile game. And it's on every single store. So the cost of entry is super small, but the reward potentially can be great depending on how it's monetized. So that makes sense. But let's move that to the side. Let's go over to the consoles versus PC.
Yep.
The PC guys, they spend a lot of money up front for their hardware, which is a one-time purchase, and then that's it. Versus console gamers. You may buy a PlayStation, then you may buy a PlayStation Slim, then you may buy a Pro, then you may buy VR, you may buy a Portal, you may buy, all kind of, the DualSense Edge controllers. You may buy all this other stuff that's additive items. That's why when Herman Hulst said we don't want to trade a PlayStation gamer for a PC gamer, because that's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah,
those PC guys, they may buy the game,
this
or
is
they may
global
not.
too.
But
this is not US. This is global. So this is
Absolutely.
PC gamers. Like you're talking about Korea, you're talking about Asia, you're talking about that's why mobile games is huge. This is global.
Yeah. Well, and another thing with PC gaming, right, is the bulk of the gamers, the hardcore gamers, not the Candy Crush gamers, not the little small rinky-dink solitaire players, but the bulk of the rest of those guys, they're only playing Dota, World of Warcraft.
I was about to say,
and CS:GO.
I think there's less churn in PC gaming. I think that they stick around with games. There's longevity in them, but I don't think they're as much as a console gamer where they're like the new game, the sequel, the this, the that. Like not saying they don't buy the games, but I think they're nested in their communities of games, like you're saying, like the Dotas, the Counter Strikes. Like they are in there.
I agree. Here's the thing: most people keep thinking of PC gamers as being these, I call them Xbox refugees. These guys that left these console gamers, that the console gamers that went to PC. No, those are super small numbers.
Yeah,
the actual PC gamers, right, are playing the Dotas, the CS:GOs,
and they're streaming it on Twitch, and they got huge communities.
Exactly. The Tarkovs and things like that. I'm big into my sim racing, right, on PC and my flight simulator.
J-Dub, I had said this a minute ago. I said this like years ago. The PC gaming market is different than the console gaming market. People can't look at it and say, well, and that's why I think the PC, with example of like Call of Duty is a very big game every year, but it's majority played on consoles, and I don't know why people just don't understand.
75%.
I don't understand why people don't understand that.
PlayStation. Yeah.
Right. And so, that market of PC gamers versus the console game, they're different markets. That's why when games come to PC and people think it's going to make it, Halo's coming to PC is going to make it big. No, it's not. No, it's not. Those guys don't think the same as a console gamer that has Halo.
Well, and that's
they
why
don't think the same.
Those PlayStation games, when they actually get ported over to PC, they rarely, it's rare for them to sell over 1 million copies. They're like,
Thank you.
200,000 copies.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't move an audience.
Was it even worth it?
Nope.
But
I agree.
So that's why I'm always puzzled with all these guys saying, all your games are going to PC and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, even so, it doesn't matter. It's only a handful of people of those guys are willing to actually buy them. So that's why Sony keeps saying they're not going to go day and date, because there's really no value in that.
It's a different audience. It's a different market.
Now, granted, if they ported the games to PC and PC was selling 4 or 5 million copies, then that's something to worry about, right? Because those are substantial numbers. But because of the numbers of like 200,000, you know how many copies of Horizon sold? Horizon sold what, 35 million
Yeah,
copies for
those are
that
just not
franchise?
PC games. They're
Spider
not.
Man or like 30 million, God of War, 30 something, all those franchise, 40 million. But on PC, right? You only selling 200,000? Like that's why I've never been worried about any of that stuff because it's not enough. It's not enough of the hardcore PC, and I'm not even going to call them hardcore. I'm going to call them console transients. That means games
Console
that are
trans-
primarily they're
Yeah,
primarily made for console and they're ported to PC.
yeah.
That's just literally what that is. That you're playing your PlayStation and your Xbox games on your PC. That is not representative of the majority.
Hmm.
The majority, like me, when I play on my PC, I don't play multiplayer. I mean I don't play console games. I play games that can only be done or only it's made for PC. Like I'm on my iRacing. I'm on either on my racing sims. I'm on DCS World. I'm on Escape from Tarkov. I'm on all of these games that are specifically like Delta Force that are made for PC. I find no value in buying a game that I already have on my PlayStation on the PC.
Yeah, double
Outside of
dipping. Like you mean double dipping, right?
doing the benchmarking and stuff like that to test out a graphic
Hmm.
card, you'll benchmark it and then but I would want to play it on PlayStation where I can get my achievements, or even on Xbox, right, to get the
Yeah,
achievement. But on PC, I just don't. There's just not a value in it for me. Not
but yeah,
saying everybody else, just for me, it's just really not
like
the
I've always
value.
thought, even when Phil will go around and saying like about he thinks that they're the same customer across the them. I think that is a very small group that plays on all three things. And if you do
Yeah,
play on all three of these platforms, you're playing different games on all different ones.
free
You're
to
playing your
play,
mobile
free to
games.
play.
You're playing your games that because those games are built for the. See what I always said. Frog knows, like we always said that, a lot of this stuff is defined by user input. So mobile games are made for touch. They're made for thumb tap and in your pocket, you'll put it on and you touch it. PC games, yes, they do controllers, but a lot of times the precision and stuff that you need, people prefer the mouse and keyboard and, for things. And then the console games, you sit back on a controller. They're different experiences. Yes, they could intertwine, but very short. They don't intertwine all the time. There are some games that cross all three of them, and those are the dime a dozen games. You can't build those kind of games. They just have to happen. And the thing is that when Phil thought that I'm gonna get the same person in all three of these areas, they're not the same people. And if they are, they're not playing your game. Like just taking a console game and just saying, oh, well, I put a strap on it, put it on my phone. It's a mobile game now. It's like, dude, that's not a mobile game. That's not going to grow the mobile market. That's not going to grow your mobile presence. Like, you can't just slap a console game streaming on cloud to a phone and go like, oh, we're in the mobile world now. You can't just do that. And then you can't take, like what J-Dub said, you can't take a game that's a console design game and then put it on PC and think it's going to get the same success that it's going to get on console. Likewise, just like when you see with Age of Empires and all those games where your guy looks like the size of a fucking ant. He's an ant. You're going to you can't throw him on an Xbox or a PlayStation, sit back and on a 50-inch screen and go, I'm going to play this game where my dude is crawling around and everybody's fighting ants. It's like, no, you need the mouse to move your armies and troops, or you got to spend the time to come up with a UI that works with a controller to play that kind of game. You're not going to be, and this is time that the developer needs to make the game work on console. It's not the same person. So like this is the challenge that they have doing this. And I think some games do well crossover wise. Helldivers did Cowabunga. Like that's on here. Like PC Helldivers was a lightning in a bottle. Whatever Sony did with that game, and I'm sure they would love to see that success with more of their other games. One of the other things that came up here before I get to the Helldivers was that PC boxed 1%. PC digital 99%. That's all probably Steam anyway. Console market 16% boxed, 84% digital. So it's changing, and the best-selling
Yeah,
games
the
of
transition has to
that
happen.
transition's happening, dude. It's that's why you can see them dropping out those disk drives. And then United States best-selling games was College Football 225, which wasn't on PC, by the way. Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Dragon Ball, which is wild, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Madden, EA Sports, FIFA, the FC, EA Sports MVP bundle, that's the combo, Elden Ring, and Dragon's Dogma. Man, I tell you, as much as I can't stand EA and their bullshit, their freaking sports games year over year, as much as people complain they didn't do shit, they're there as the best-selling games of the year. And it's not just the football. It is the college football, the regular football, even they lost the FIFA license still there.
We haven't had a college football game in over.
It was great. I love the college football game.
Right?
It was great.
Since 2013. So now this is the first year. Of course, all the universities was going to go out and buy them. We were going to go out and buy them. Everybody else was going to go out because we have been deprived because of EA.
No, I'm not saying that.
Over a decade.
No, it deserves to be
football.
there, J-Dub. I'm telling you, like, I know the thing with. I'm just saying, like, how flooded the sports games are in the top selling. That is. But you know what's crazy is NBA dropped off. NBA, I think they piss off a lot of people with their.
But you know what? That's right in line with the NBA because the NBA is actually their viewership is down.
Yeah.
So that particular sport is kind of like in the gutter right now. Totally. Whereas college football hasn't been so invigorating as it is now. You got Deion Sanders, right? Him in Colorado. You got all the other people, the ex-football players becoming coaches and
it was a good game too. Like it was they did it well.
Yeah. It was a great game, man. It was the first iteration.
It was faster
so they're
than
gonna
Madden
add
too.
they're gonna add more modes and stuff like that. Like
and they had they had the players in there, which was something that we never had. We had numbers. We used to have back in the day. But it's crazy. But no, what's interesting too, one's outstanding here is Dragon's Dogma top 10. Crazy, considering its performance challenges that it had and the challenges that thing had. And Dragon Ball being up there, which is friggin' awesome game. The Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero. Yeah. And then Helldivers, new IP, the Helldivers too.
Crazy,
it's a different
right?
one. Number 3.
A Sony live service game is number 3.
Best selling game of the year. As well. Then here's UK. Here's your Super Mario Brothers games. UK loves their Super Mario. They got Mario Party Jamboree. And then Japan, Dragon Quest. And this just shows you too, like when you're trying to sell to a global audience, like you can't just slap your game on everything and go think it's going to have success just because you. And this shows like you can't just put your game everywhere and think it's going to be great. Look at just United Kingdom. Look at their likes. Yes, there's some sports games, but then they got Mario Kart 8. They got Nintendo Switch Sports in the top 8. Minecraft is 7. Super Mario Party Jamboree. Legend of Zelda. Man, they love themselves some Nintendo. And then Japan had your Dragon Quest, your Super Mario Brothers. Here's a little Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth in Japan. So you look at the different locations, and it's hard to kind of permeate global audiences with one game. Like that's where I always thought Microsoft was so ambitious with the way they talked about like we're just going to touch 200 billion gamers. I'm like, dude, look at the differences just by region alone. And then you talk about devices and there's so much variability. Like you got to come out with a portfolio of games and a consistency and a quality of your studios and your brand. That's how you get out there. You can't just say, I put Gears on a phone and everybody in Japan can't wait to play it. No, but that's why it didn't matter how many places you put your game. It was all about what kind of games you put out there and the consistency of your output. That's what they needed to build. And that's what Microsoft has still yet to build to this day where they're saying maybe this is the year. But this has been the lacking stuff that they've done. This is what Sony's done. This is what Nintendo's done. They've built a portfolio of games and reliability in their content. And there's some flubs. Nintendo had some, and Sony obviously had theirs. But, you make sure your low points are low, but then you got a lot more high points to overcome those low points. And that's what you do. And You know, Microsoft just struggled, and they're still struggling, and they just spent money, and everybody's like, "Oh, look at us spending money." Most covered games: Fortnite, Helldivers, Palworld, Call of Duty, Diablo, Star Wars, Elden Ring. Most covered companies: Xbox wins. They win.
Xbox, no. Phil, that's
Probably because of just 4 games covered the internet. The most covered companies. Xbox, everybody likes to talk about them because they're the most dynamic and shook up of the bunch. And then PlayStation second, Nintendo's third, and then Microsoft is fourth, Sony fifth, Nvidia sixth, Ubisoft seventh, Electronic Arts 8, Activision all the way down at 9, Epic, Square Enix, Twitch, Valve, Bethesda, and Sega. Those are your most covered companies from Eco. But those are the news. I don't think there's anything else. Most viewed trailers and most top influencers. Wait, what's my name doing up there? Nah, fuck out of here.
Yeah, most covered. Yeah,
most covered games. But yeah, those are some interesting numbers there on that. But Frogs, Thrifty, did you guys have anything to say on those numbers or anything like that? Any of that stuff from this article on 2024?
Man, I ain't got shit. I think you and Jade have been handling it. If I had some, I'd have jumped in.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty wild with this stuff on there. So next topic.
You're pretty spot on.
This is what Thrifty has the stuff to say here. So I'm gonna just play just a tad of this little thing, which I found very interesting from Yoshida's interview. So we're going to do Yoshida's interview. Hit that like button, grinders. We're coming to the Yoshida interview. So I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it. I watched it a couple of days ago, and there were a couple of parts in there that I thought were interesting. A couple of highlights for me was when he talked about his job and how he changed from, well, basically got demoted to work with indies when he was running the worldwide studios there, and some of his kind of interactions and things like that. So I'm just going to play just a little bit of this clip here when he was talking about how that happened in the PlayStation dynamic.
What do you bring to the table? I think, people see you so much.
What the hell happened? Oh, wait, hold on. An ad just popped up. Yoshida dropping ads. She dropping ads in his interview. Get back to it.
Yeah, he just kept going.
Yeah. So it has to be, made like that for me to move on. And Jim created a really exciting and role for me to work on.
So then, when you come into this indie role, what do you bring to the table? I think people see you so much publicly as, okay, you're changing your Twitter banner. You're tweeting about this indie you saw. It's cool. What does the actual job look like? Like, what were you doing day to day?
Yeah. So it was at the time, end of 2019 and 2020. COVID happened, right?
I vaguely remember.
Plan was, of course, to visit, developers, publishers, and visit events and check out games. And now that was possible, right? And COVID.
Sure.
So my initial focus was more on working internally to find out what's going on. What the, leaders of different departments, because I was one person department reporting to Jim Ryan, I was able to work with all department, very flatly. For them, it's very easy for them to work with me as well. I was an additional resource, and to find out, what's going on. And of course, I talked to publishers and friendly developers as well, what their views on us. And our third-party department did the same. They were already working on what internally we called Indie 2.0 initiative before I got assigned. Maybe, they asked Jim Ryan to add me to that project, from TPR, third-party department teams, because they are working on Indie 2.0 internally, and maybe Jim Ryan saw the opportunity to add me to their efforts. So quickly, I started working closely on with the third-party department teams who are working on Indie 2.0 initiative. And luckily, I got the message from Greg Rice, they just sold their company Double Fine to Microsoft, and as Greg was managing publishing business for Double Fine, and Microsoft has decided to shut down the business, he kind of lost, his role, half of his responsibility. He was a producer as well, but he asked me, there's a role, being open at PlayStation about this leading indie account management team. Can you say something good about me? So I sent an email internally to the management people in third-party relations that you should hire this guy, Greg Rice. So Greg joined about the same time as I got this new role. And same
Sony
time, Christian Svensson came over from, I've known him for a long time. He was head of Capcom US, and he had his.
This is funny that he, the guy from some Double Fine. Yeah, he was doing all the deals. And if you remember, I watched a documentary. I remember that guy talking about that stuff. And then when Microsoft bought him, it's like, yeah, we don't, that guy's job is like kind of done now. Microsoft's the publisher now. He's not making deals anymore. And it's interesting because Yoshida was reaching out to him, working with Double Fine, trying to get there, and then basically the guy's like, do you have anything for me? And Yoshida plucked him on that stuff. Yeah. But what's interesting is that this role that he got, he was sort of like was talking to Jim. So other way in this interview, he says that he was talking to Jim Ryan, and Jim Ryan's like, and then he's like saying like, yeah, we need to do some indies and stuff. And then Yoshida's like, yeah, we need to do some indies and work. Like he brought up an idea like, oh, let's build up the indies and stuff like that. And then he says that Jim Ryan's like, yeah, that's what you're going to do. We need you to do that. And that's how he kind of got that role. Yeah. Jim Ryan basically said like, yeah, you're no longer the Sony worldwide studios head. We're going global now. We're doing this global thing. You are now going to work on the indies. So yeah, it wasn't, it's interesting because at the time we didn't know, like it was a demotion. It was something different, a passion that he had, but it was definitely something that Jim Ryan kind of put on him. And
him to do.
He said, yeah, we need somebody like, you come up with an idea and somebody's like, yeah, it's a great idea, you're doing it. That's what happened.
We look at it as a demotion because we knew Yoshida from being the head guy,
and he was tough too. He said
big face
people, it was tough. He flipping on the tables.
And so but he took over that role and he did a great job. He brought us
Kana
a lot. He brought Kana, Stray, Stellar Blade. He brought us a lot of stuff that traditionally most people wouldn't look at, but he brought those to the forefront, and they were good games where, for example, if Sony's first party is light, these were filler games to fill in that year or in those months where while we're waiting for first party, there were great games. That's why we consistently have things to play. If you notice, PlayStation don't really have a dry spell anymore, right?
Yeah, he filled in the gaps with his stuff.
He filled in those gaps, especially like last year, right? They only had a couple of first party games, but they had a shitload of massive filler games that from Final Fantasy all the way to just whatever. It was just always something that, like you said, Stellar Blade and the rest of that, and
Black Myth Wukong.
Black Myth Wukong
on accident.
Yeah. and
Rollerdrome, didn't he find Rollerdrome too? That was an indie one, remember that one? That game was pretty good.
Yeah. And what's the what do you call it? The samurai game that came out like in March. Rise of Ronin, stuff like that, right? It just really creates an atmosphere where it seems like there's always something to buy or play on PlayStation where they're never down. Whereas when you look at Xbox, they released the game
they don't
first
have
part
that
of
guy.
The year, and then they don't have
Yoshida.
anything else until the end of
Who's
it.
replacing
right?
Yoshida? Who did they say who's replacing him? Is anybody replacing him?
They didn't say. We don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Most PlayStation guys don't know anybody outside of Yoshida and Herman Holtz. We don't know nobody else, right? And Corey Ballrock. Obviously, the developers.
There's that guy Seth, but he's like
Corey.
he's Seth. What's his name? The guy that he's like the PR guy, but that's about it.
Yeah,
he does like the interviews,
and then Sean Benson.
Yes,
I
I
know
don't even
Sean
know that
Benson.
guy. I don't even know that guy. You know.
She is actually she's the girl who does all the
Oh
state of
yeah,
plays.
the girl with the glasses, right?
Oh,
she,
yeah,
she
yeah,
got
yeah.
put in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
She was on one of their shows.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But we,
know.
I mean, but in the grand scheme of things, Yoshida has always been that face that we knew and we were comfortable with. But everybody else is kind of like a replaceable person. We don't know. Like we know Herman Hulse, but I mean, outside of the horizon, we don't really, we don't
talk
really
that much either, man.
He could leave and everybody, it's like I don't know.
He don't talk that much either. He don't really do a lot of innocent. He don't really. They don't. None of them talk too much. That's why this is a rare thing to like, even because then he's out of the PlayStation and he's talking about all this stuff too. I just want to bring up the game night 1, 2, 3 with the 10. He goes, Uncharted Legacy. We're talking about the sales. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves on PC sold 483K. Miles Morales sold 450K. Sackboy, it was 62K. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Returnal sold terribly on PC. So day and date makes no sense.
See, I told you.
There you go. Thank you, Game Night, with the price, with the things there. Also, too, I think that there was a huge uptick in the first few games that went to PC because of the idea of PlayStation games going to PC. And then I think after the residuals come out, it's sort of like, like just the big ones may do something. Because I don't think Ragnarok came out, right? I don't think that did.
Yeah, Ragnarok came out. It didn't do. Like I said, none of them got a million.
I don't think Last of Us 2 is going to do that. Was the Last of Us 2 coming out? Didn't that come out? That came out already.
The end of the month.
Yeah.
Or did it? Yeah.
No, it's coming out at the end of the month.
At the end of the month. And it's not going to do over a million. That's why we're looking at it like it would be stupid for them to go day and date because there's just no payoff there. Because there's just not enough. Even though you got billions of PC allegedly gamers out there, the people who are interested in those type of games are already on console.
But JW, too, the way they put their games on PC is totally different. They traditionally don't make, like, that's development split up into a PC port and a game. They're making it specifically the reference device is the PlayStation.
Console,
They put it on the console and then they use their other studio to port it over to PC. They're not taking time away from the Naughty Dogs and and the Santa Monica saying, all right, we're gonna take you guys, half of you are gonna go over there and make the PC version and optimize it, and the other half are going over there, and now the game takes longer to come out because they split their team. That's what Microsoft did to their teams, and you saw what happened to Halo Infinite when you take a team and you just get a whole bunch of throwing stuff at it, and you just diverse them, and they couldn't get features ready for day one because they were split like that. That's why Sony,
you're basically adding an additional console to
after we're done with the
you
game.
adding
That's why day and date they'll have to change their development structure with their first party single player games. They could do it maybe with Helldivers and multiplayer ones, but their single player games they'll have to split them up, and that's not how Sony brings games to PC. They don't take like they said with Spider-Man 2. They didn't take Spider-Man 2 and say, okay, well, you guys stop making the PC version. No, they say, Nixus, get ready. Here's the PlayStation version. Get it on PC. Yeah. And that's how they do it. So unless they do day and date, they got to change their development cycle because that's not how they traditionally port games to PC.
That's still 2 years. It took 2 years.
Yeah, they got development studio ports.
Right?
They're not taking time away from their games and making their games miss features, have less than because they got to work on a day and date, because that's what people just say. They just think it's easy, like it's day and date. And you hear these devs say like, yo, it's a lot. We have the Halo guys sitting there going, it's a lot of optimizations. It's a lot of work and time to get this to be everywhere day one. We're not built for that. We were a first party 343 studio, and Microsoft decided to turn us into a PC and console studio day one. And they're learning. We saw what happened when you just split them up. And that's where it goes into the whole thing with these service games, where you even see with Naughty Dog, they had to stop they had to cancel one of their service games because they said, oh, we either become that or we work on our single player. We can't do both. And
we would have never got Interstellar if they would have released that. Think about that. We would have never got Interstellar. And I'm gonna be honest.
Well, Interstellar might be years more away.
So glad I am so because listen, I'll be honest. There's only like 2 live service games that I play and I stick with. That's my Helldivers, and that's one of these other games that it's more so like it's basically Armor Reforger, right? Which is really known for being a PC game, not a console game. But
Yeah. And Patient Fire
um,
says anything like Concord flopping shows dangers of doing day and date PC with inflated development costs and neglecting your core fan base. And then Corey says games on PC are Trojan horse. They're trying to get adoption from PS and PS games in China, which is like 90% PC. China removed its ban on consoles in 2013. That's a good point, Corey. And because that global market trying to get exposure and reaching people where they maybe not buying the console and putting it over there. So yeah, and again, they have been
right?
about
Even if they
spreading their
don't,
IP.
even if they don't, they still get the residuals from that because having a game like Black Myth Wukong marketed on their console or just physically on their console and nowhere else, no other competing platform worked out to their favor. So just by
Yes.
chance,
Yeah.
even though majority of the people probably bought it on PC, it didn't matter. They're trying to bring value to their console. They want basically people to buy a console. And I'll be honest, there is no bigger way to get people to buy your console than having a better, best running version marketed GTA 6.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
all PC gamers are going to have to go out and buy a PS5 or a PS5 Pro in order to play that.
It's a big one.
So it's listen, they're going to this year
Agree.
console sales is going to be
Agree.
fucking bananas.
I know. That's
They're
why
gonna break
I
records.
still, and just my head spins going at why did Microsoft like just pull the plug on the console and doing this as an Xbox everywhere when you have GTA 6 on the horizon that possibly could spruce up your console sales if you just spent just a few more months and a year or so of pushing your console, bundle it with Call of Duty just for one season to try to push your console one last push, knowing that GTA 6 is sitting out there and it most likely will drive console sales. You want to be part of that. Why would you dismiss that? Make the console hard to find, pull out of global markets, try not say everything is an Xbox. Don't even bundle the game. You didn't even have any bundles for the holiday. No family bundle, no Call of Duty bundle, nothing. And you just let this thing die, and your console is just dying bigger and bigger. And you couldn't just give it one more whiff of life for one more holiday, knowing GTA 6 is gonna be there. Like you're basically just handing the baton off the Sony going, well, you're going to be the only place. They already got that with the PS5 Pro being the best place to play the game, obviously. And then going like, oh, and here you go. Yeah, our console is just, I just can't believe that they did that. Of all times, bad timing on them.
Yes, they did this on purpose. You don't.
This is probably the best time to do it, right?
Listen, let me tell you. They want to do this on purpose. They want to exit because they already said they lose $100 to $200 on every console sold. So if the console is not even selling, if gamers are saying we don't want the hardware, but they've already invested all this money into it, why would you? Right? It's going to be harder. The more people that buy your stuff, the harder it is to leave the console space.
J-Dub, that's why I'm convinced you're right. They basically did this because they know that they don't want. Because why would you do that if the only reason why is that you are leaving? Like you're basically saying, go everywhere. Don't come here. This place stinks. Go where you are. We're coming to you. Don't come here. We're coming to you. It's like I was trying to sell a concert. It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy tickets and fly to Miami to see the concert. Like, no, we're coming to your house. We're coming to you. You don't come here, and that's basically what they did. Like
all of those rumors.
The only way they'll do that was that.
With all of those rumors being out there, with this game coming and all the whole slate coming, if it wasn't true, and if Microsoft didn't want that bad, the bad feeling,
the bad press
in their fan base, they would have came out and said, "No, this is not true, guys. This is not true." But they didn't. They're letting this cloud of funk sit over their console because they want people to. They want people to go away. They want people to go to PlayStation and Nintendo and PC and everywhere. That way, they don't have to keep spending money in developing a next generation console or anything else.
Out naturally.
It can just be
I've been saying this for the longest time.
The world's largest third-party publisher, and they'll
There you
make
go.
so much money across the board because they got. I mean, if you add the PS4 and the PS5 together, I mean,
Yep.
technically that's like you over 200 million
And the
plus.
Switch install base.
Switch, so damn near
Jeez.
250 million PlayStation install base, and then the Switch, right, is already at 150 million. If you add 250 plus the 150, you right now you're looking at 400, almost 500 million gamers that they never had access to. Now I mean, right now they only have what 25 to 30 million consoles sold,
Yeah.
but now they'll take on 400 plus million
And they
potential,
buy
right?
their
Potential.
games, J-Dub. And
Exactly.
and these games are made for
At full
console.
price.
And
At full price.
And we just talked about how mobile and PC, there may be some crossover, but a majority is they're different consumers with different expectations. But when you take your games that are built for console and you just put it to the competitor's console, like your version of your games, dude, that market is just there for they're there to spend. Like, here you go. Like, if you make a great game for console, that market is an equivalent. Like, you know, they have their own expectations on a Nintendo and a Switch, and it may be hard to sell your game next to a God of War and Uncharted or Mario Kart and stuff like that. But that's different competition. But still, it's not this like, oh, you're trying to get people that used to touching games to play Gears of War. You're trying to get people who like keyboard and mouse and making sure Gears of War works with keyboard and mouse. And Halo, you don't have to do that. You just say, here you go, PlayStation. Here you go, Nintendo. You know the game. And it's sort of like, and you buy it too, and they pay for it. And
well, he said it
goose.
earlier. There's even Ryan McCaffrey, right? Even Shaggy. He said there's a reason they didn't offer you a Halo sequel or a Gears sequel. There's a reason they're going back to the prequels.
Oh yeah,
because they want to get
and the engine
the new
in the Halo
fan base, right? They want to get the new people who've never played Halo or never offered to the platform. They want to get them and bring them up to speed, and then they're going to release the collection.
There you go.
What does that outside of like the Halo collection that's coming this year, the PlayStation and Switch 2? Now we get to start Halo 1, 2, 3, right? We get
the Gears collection
to a whole new one. So get to experience that, and then once you catch them up to speed, then you'll start with that Halo Infinite 2 or whatever, or the Gears, whatever. Like, mark my words. But I honestly believe that Gears E-Day is going to be day in day with PlayStation. I believe it's gonna be with PlayStation and Switch. I believe it's gonna be there day one. Because right now they want money. They need to pay back $100 billion. And you already have a small install base that is not bringing in enough money because everything they want is free. Game Pass, everything is free, right? So they're going to focus on where the bulk of the gamers are and people who spend money, and they're going to make a shitload of money. They're going to make more money than EA, than Take-Two, Rockstar, and the rest of them, because they own half of the industry. They own all of this shit, right?
I agree.
They own the biggest game in the world, right? They saw the biggest game in the world didn't do anything for their platform, but it sold 75% on the competition's platform. So they're going to rake up all that money.
Satya
They're going to rake up all that money.
That's crazy that Call of Duty is as big as it is, and it being in Game Pass, it still had the most players on PlayStation. And this shows you that the numbers that they expected. And I think me and Jess talked about this years ago when they said, "Oh, we need 100 million subscribers." I said, they're not getting that. They're going to go third party because there's no way they can achieve that
they were
with the user base that they have on. And you know what people said? Oh, the PC guys will bring over the 100. No, they won't. PC guys and console guys don't play games the same way. You got to stop thinking. Microsoft had these guys who were playing on Xbox thinking that the PC market was going to be what was going to save Microsoft. No, it made it worse because you had no identity.
It was supposed to
you
fund
had no identity
Xbox.
anymore.
Remember, they were saying the PC guys were going to fund the games that they could buy
there
on
you
Xbox.
Go. And
now
PC,
they're saying the
the
same
PC
thing now
gaming
with the
market is
PlayStation
not the
guys.
same. The PC gaming market is not the same as the console, and people, and we kept telling people you cannot think like that. There are two different markets. You can't look at the console, and say, oh, because now all these Xbox games are on PC day one, this was going to help Microsoft. No, all it did was help Microsoft's gaming division lose the identity to the games that it was holding on so closely to, and what you did is that 30 million subscriber base that you had, you split the Microsoft's biggest problem this generation. They split the market when they created a freaking really weak console and a
Yes.
really strong console.
Yes.
That hurt them more than anything. I'm a firm believer that hurt them more than anything because 70% of the Xbox gamers this generation are gaming on the
Series S.
Series S. That
Yeah.
makes no sense.
I don't think they thought that would be the case because
That hurt them. That really hurt them.
so many
Yeah.
of their fans was hyping up power, power, power.
Oh.
But that just shows you, right?
Yep. They didn't care.
Only the minority cares about power. Obviously,
you
look
go.
at the Switch, right? That tells you that people
Yep.
didn't really care about power.
They went with the cheapest base thing
the
they had out there to enter the gaming
quality.
market.
Yep.
And guess what? And a lot of those people, I was in the store. I remember the PS5 Pro was coming out, and I was in the store, and there was a guy buying an Xbox Series S, and I was sitting there listening to him, and with his thought process,
He's like,
his thought process of what he thought a Series S was is he thought it was going to give him this like the graphic of the Series X, and I told him, I said, hey, that's not the console you're thinking of. That one it's going to do upscale 4K. I said, there's a lot of games on that console. And he was like, really? And I said, yeah, you're going to have to buy the more expensive one. He was like, man, I was upgrading from my Xbox One to the new one. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. If you like Xbox games, you've invested, just get the Xbox Series X. I said, don't even mess with the S. He's like, yeah, but I don't own any of my games anymore. I play them all digital. I said, well, you can still do it on the X. But his thought process was this $249 console was going to give him the same experience as the X. And when I told him it wasn't, he was like, oh, I thought it was like, he really thought it was like the equivalent to the PS5. He said, I thought it was like, I said, no, it's and I think they sent a lot of bad messages out there. So you have a lot of people who will buy a Series S and they get it home and they're like, wait, what is this? And it's an Xbox One S. That's all it is. It's the same console you had last gen with a little bit a tweak. It's a tweak.
They were sold.
It's the same thing.
Let's face it. Their marketing with that console, they were promised a 1440p 120 frames per second machine. That's what they were promised. And I know because I got the video that Microsoft eventually ended up privating, right? But Jez, we keep the clips and stuff, all their old stuff, right? When they talked about VR, when they talked about the finest pixels and 1440p, 120 frames a second, they were promised that.
Yeah,
and most gamers were like,
J-Dub, I got the guy right here. This is the guy that promised it right there. There he is. Thou shall not, I think. There he is. Gaming Gandalf.
And most gamers were like, at the time, they were like, well, I don't even have 4K TV. So the fact that I can play, my games at 120 frames, blah, 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 that's a great deal. But what they didn't tell them is that was only those old backward compatibility Xbox One games. Those weren't next generation games that were going to be able to run at 1440p 120 with all the bells and whistles and stuff like that. So they should have told those people what the big difference would be between the Series X and the Series S.
J-Dub, remember because they wouldn't even show it side by side. They wouldn't even have the differences show side by side. They were so coy with it.
Jez, you forgot. Remember Tom Warren and the rest of those guys, Major Nelson, all those guys talking about the Series S CPU is more powerful than the PS5.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I
keep those screenshots. I keep those tweets.
Keep them.
And then, starting from day one, PS5 started running better than the Series S and X. And we were like, guys, what happened to that CPU, the extra CPU?
He said the CPU was equivalent to the PlayStation 5.
The full clocks.
Dude, all these clowns, man. Oh my God.
They poked fun at PS5 for having the variable clocks. And they were talking, well, the Xbox Series S and X runs at full speed at all times, and it eats monsters for breakfast and shit. And
that guy's gone. He's eating breakfast on the corner.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. 2 generations in a row, they've had the most powerful console and didn't do anything with it. Why the fuck are guys out here, pardon my French, but why are they still out here hoping Xbox release a more powerful console that's basically a PC and it has Steam on it and it has Epic Store and all this other goofy stuff? Like, what
what is going through their minds when they're thinking of this stuff? If you're going to do all of that, just get you a PC. What PC gamer would go from their PC, their powerful rig, down to a console just because it had, you know, how is Steam going to save the Xbox Series S and X?
It's not.
Exactly.
It's not gonna say. It's not gonna save anybody. It again, or like I said, or even like putting their games on other platforms. Is that gonna save Xbox, dude? That all that is delaying the inevitable. It's like buying time. That's all they've been doing is all these years, J-Dub, they've been buying time. Wait to E3. Watch us buy some studios. Watch us buy publishers. Watch us do this. Watch us do that. Trust us. Wait, here's another show. Oh, Fan Fest. It's about the fans. It's about the power. Now it's about portables. Like it's always been buying time for the inevitable instead of just going back to the basics and making the games that people care about, releasing them on time, and getting them out there, and that's it. But all they've been doing is just saying, wait to E3, wait to this, wait to that, wait to next showcase, wait to Developer Direct, wait to showcase, wait to the Game Awards, wait to this. Oh, we got something. Just like this whole thing, this Developer Direct that's coming up, right? Oh, we're going to tease some bullshit. Tease? Dude, you have nothing to tease. You shouldn't be teasing shit. You should be like, it's all coming right now. Like, you have no time to tease. Who do you think you are, tease? I
don't understand.
I may have a game. I may not. Who the fuck do you think you are, teasing? All you're doing is just getting people's hopes up. And now they're like, they're already saying it's Ninja Gaiden. Guess what? If it's not Ninja Gaiden, it's going to be a disappointment. So now, good job, Microsoft, by making that a mystery game. Why would you do that?
It doesn't matter. It would come to PlayStation and Switch anyway.
But the thing is, why do you even like? I understand the tease and it's fun, but all you do is create these expectations. You know how hungry the remaining few are, and how quickly they're spreading rumors. This better be Ninja Gaiden. And is it a 3D Ninja Gaiden? Is it a side-scrolling Ninja Gaiden? Because people think it's going to be Ninja Gaiden in Game Pass or something like that, and you created this. Instead of making it about the games that you were coming out with, you made it about this mystery game. Good job on that. Now people have expectations. Good job. Why?
It's the OG Ninja Gaiden with the original assets.
Who knows what it is? But exactly, like it's gonna be the NES Ninja Gaiden that's coming to the Switch too. Watch.
Well, I'm gonna get it on my PS5 Pro.
Why would they do this? Like the thing is like you do this to yourselves. You step on the rake. You like I understand it's fun to tease stuff, but you can't like you basically are taking the attention away of the three other games such as Doom and the other games in Developer Direct, and now you made it about this mystery game. Dude, don't even say anything. Just say it's these three games. Come to see the show, not the fucking mystery game. And then just do the mystery game at the show. But now it seems like these three games can't carry an audience. So you got to put some dick tease thing in there to kind of get people in the door. And it's just like, it better be what they think it is because you created this whole narrative now. You let them run. It's Ninja Gaiden. It's in Game Pass. It's a Japanese publisher because Bootleg Jez can't shut up his ass. So he's now, and you got this funnel of influences and shit that just feed into the mystery, and you just step on the rake. And it's just, and these people are sitting there looking like this. Here we go. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, looking like this. There we go. And you got people like this. There you go. Listen, I'm excited about 3,000 people, but this guy dropped 2 nuts talking about Phil Spencer.
When do you? Oh man.
He didn't even announce anything. He just showed up. The guy's in tears. Fucking tears.
And guess what? Nobody played that fucking shit when it came to Xbox. That's the sad part.
Dude.
That's the sad part about it. Nobody cared.
This is the mystery game. It's the Developer Direct.
Yeah. The reason nobody's playing the game.
They just said the
The reason
guy's
I'm-
name. Phil Spencer didn't say shit.
Yeah, the reason nobody's playing their game though is because they condition their audience to Game Pass subscribe. So they don't believe that they don't see the value in any games anymore because they believe it should only be put in Game Pass. And if the game isn't put in Game Pass, there's no value in the game. You have people run. I've sat back and just listened to people who primarily play Xbox. They don't value anything video gaming. That's why they don't really play anything that's in Game Pass. They don't really play games. Most of these guys are frauds. They're on talking points and they're happy to get, freaking 5090 freaking GPUs and all kind of graphics cards. And they really don't play games. That's why they hide their trophy list. That's why they and most of these guys weren't even there since day one on Xbox or far in the past before the 3D age of gaming. These guys aren't real gamers. They're journalists. They're journalists.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
I don't know what the hell they are, but was there anything else in that Yoshida interview that stood out, like with him being in there and things like that? Thrifty, did you have anything from the Yoshida thing that you wanted to talk about?
I did, and then I actually have a buddy and I who are about to game after this, so I'm going to drop this because it's going to feed y'all into the next topic.
All right, get us.
But Yoshida talked about how we don't know how many games they cancel, and he's like, we cancel games all the time.
Yeah, I heard
and
that.
We don't know about any of them, and people now there's two things that have happened. One, the Shuhei interview, and two, we've had the cancellation or the announcement of these cancellations of the 2 live service games, and people are either A, flipping the fuck out and saying Sony's dead, Sony's done, Sony's gone, or you have the other side that's being just as vocal saying, yeah, Sony screwed up, we told you, when in reality, that crowd should be doing what I'm doing and going, thank the Lord Jesus. We're not getting 2 more games that were going to come out and going to flop, and Sony cut their losses. They're not sticking to their guns like Xbox is doing. They're not having to put their games everywhere. They literally saw that there was a problem and did what they were supposed to do. I feel like Herman Holst has come in, and over the last 10 months, he's been able to do nothing but clean up some of these oversteps and overreaches and poor decisions done by Jim Ryan. And so I'm excited because after this fiscal year, we get Ghost of Yotai. And we get to see what Fair Games looks like, which looks like a Payback 2.0. Might be something, might be a flop. But at least Sony has positioned themselves in such a way that they can take these risks, that they can be financially stable enough to take these risks and not have to look for handouts from other platform holders. Like, they are doing everything that we have screamed at them for the past 2 years to do. And people seem like they're upset and like the sky is falling over 2 games. And Shuhei's out here going, yeah, guys, we cancel a hell of a lot. Like, y'all have no idea how many we cancel.
He also said, too, he said, like, they're working on something in 3 years. And then he's like, and then we tell them that they're not doing it anymore. And he's like, it's better to do that than just to have them say, oh, yeah, well, you're going to work another 3 years on something that we shouldn't even be doing, and kind of waste their time additionally. Like, as soon as they find they're not going to move ahead with it, they cancel it rather than have them drag on for 2 years. Like, maybe they'll change their minds or something like that. And he said, like, they're kind of happy. Some people say, screw you, I'm leaving. He says that happens as well. Like, I'm leaving. Like, I wasted my time here. Shu said all this stuff, and I had it. I don't remember where it was, but I don't want to keep dragging through it. But he said that as well. Like, yeah, they'll say, screw you, man, I'm out of here. And he's like, yep, they do that too. But a lot of them, some people are like, oh, thank you, because I wouldn't want to waste any more time on this if you didn't find any kind of any kind of thing going on with it. But
Yoshida, one big thing that he did say, which I think should have tempered everybody down and kept them off the ledge. He said that Sony created a separate budget for live service, so it took away from no other game that the studios were already making or had in their lineup. Where it's not like they took budget from Naughty Dog, money from Interstellar, and stuck it. That's not how that worked. They have a budget that they stuck aside for the live service game category. They have a budget for single player. They have for third party, second party. They have separate budgets for that. So with all these guys like, oh man, because of Concord, we could have got 5 other games. And it's like, that's not how that works. I'm glad he said it because here's the thing. Never before have gamers been so intertwined into the business inside of the workings and the business of these corporations. Generally, gamers just whenever you drop a great game, if it's good, I'm gonna buy it. If it's not, I'm not gonna buy it. And they just worried about the games. But now people are so entrenched about with the people who are working there, the developers, what the developers say, with the leakers, with the insiders, with Jason Schreier, snuck and talk to somebody who used to work there, say like people will are so emotional. They go off of these rumors and these things, and that's the talk of the week or the talk of the day. And my whole thing is because people, and I know we're very anxious to see what they're working on for first party.
Yeah.
But people going off of the edge, well, Sony have nothing, and then they just randomly drop Ghost of Yotai, right? So we saw that, and it's like, well, that's first party. They're coming. You just got to give them time. I'd rather you give them time where they produce a GOTY winner versus rusting some shit just because you want to get on the internet and fanboy with, right? Because it's the list wars. Microsoft released a list of games that's coming, and then all the PlayStation gamers come. Oh, Sony, where's your list? You need to have this showcase and
Where's
this
your
show.
roadmap?
Yeah, exactly. Where's your roadmap? And it's like, didn't we just give you more games this year exclusively for your platform? Didn't we give you like 5, 6 GOTY nominated games? Didn't you just get all this special treatment? You won, we won GOTY, and you're still complaining. You got Ghost of Yotai, you got Death Stranding 2, you got Phantom Blade Zero, you got stuff coming. When we're ready to show it, when it's ready to show, we'll show it. We showed you Wolverine 3-4 years ago. It's still not here, and everybody's, oh my God, Wolverine, blah blah blah. It's never coming. That's that, and both sides do it, right? So I get it why Microsoft doesn't want to show their whole hands,
But they
years
already did though.
early because of I know they did, but they were in a different position. They kind of had to,
They
right?
had to. Well, that was the thing because that thing was waiting. They had to. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had
You're
to
my
because they
number
have a
one
service
customer.
that they're trying to sell. And people, in order for them to keep subscribing to that service, you have to show them why they need to keep it or else they're going to cancel it. So Microsoft was kind of backed into that corner. But I get why companies don't, because it doesn't help you when you show shit. Like Sony could come out tomorrow, do a showcase or state of play and show you every single game that they're working on.
J-Dub,
But
I
if you
said
don't
that
get
last
those
week.
games,
I
since
said,
when it-
just like how would even know about Astrobot, like they have this thing where they could just do a show and it's like, boom, yo, look at this coming out. Like, yep, this
out
year,
of nowhere.
and they could just own the goddamn room. Like they got, and that's what they can do because they just did that with Astrobot. That we had no clue that game at this time last year. Everybody was saying the same tune. They're like, what does PlayStation have? They got nothing this year. And it's like, well, they had, Final Fantasy. Well, what are they doing? And it's like, they dropped Astrobot and 3 months later it comes out, took the world by storm, gets Game of the Year. And it's like, just like that. And then, and even Helldivers 2, nobody was really big into that. And that dropped and it was like, boom, that took over the internet.
Game of the Year.
And that took over the internet. So like they have the chance, like if they do like a state of play and they just drop like, oh boom, here's Death Stranding, here's Ghost of Yotai, oh, and here's one more thing, here's another game. And they could do that because they just have that infrastructure that they could just do that shit. Microsoft unfortunately announced everything, talked about everything so much that it's time to just show the game running, and that's where they're struggling, just getting their messaging because they've been talking so much about it.
Delayed, and Microsoft always delay games.
And when they're
Avowed, right?
J-Dub, when they're delayed,
like how many times that got delayed?
When they're delayed, they still come out half-assed.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like when they because they say
Redfall
Sony
was delayed, and then
Horizon was delayed.
Right?
Gran Turismo was delayed. God of War was delayed. Like, and same thing with God of War Ragnarok. Remember, everybody thought that Ragnarok wasn't going to come out. They're like, oh, it did. They missed that June showcase or June announcement. They're not no God of War. Meanwhile, boom, Ragnarok comes out, and then the DLC, and then that rogue mode for that stuff. So like they have the ability to just change the message overnight and make an impact. And Nintendo could do the same thing too. Nintendo could just like tomorrow, people are down on the Switch 2. They could do a direct tomorrow and go, yeah, Metroid, here it is. Look at it. Boom, Switch 2 launch title. The people go, they'll be running in the streets to pre-order it. Done.
Yeah.
And that takes years. It takes confidence in your consumer base and what you can rely on and consistency to be able to do that and to know how to roll it out. And Microsoft just was chumming the water. They just threw that shit out there and really didn't do that. But you're right. Like the way he said that they cancel games. J-Dub, one other thing about this, and you're about to say about the financials. How the hell do you have within 1.5 months, you have a Concord issue and Astrobot release right after that? You have a game that's refunded, pulled off the shelves. They made a controller for it. They had a beta. It was a failure to them. Nobody played it. They pulled it, refunded people, and then put a game of the year out right after that. Like that just shows
that's how
the hell that's a PR nightmare and celebration in one. It's incredible.
That's the one thing I do like about PlayStation, man, that I don't think not many people can do is that do they fuck up? Absolutely.
They're not immune.
But even within their fuck ups, right? They'll follow up their fuck up with some good news. They'll come and say, "Hey, listen, guys, we messed up here, blah 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 blah," and then like they'll have a state of play 2 days later, and they'll show you some good shit that you want to see, and it's like you forgot all about the bad news.
Yep.
Microsoft, on the other hand, they'll come out with some bad news, and they just never recover from that shit. It just so like everybody was crying about these. Oh, all these games cancel these, but I'm like, and I was kind of thrown aback because I'm like, wait, didn't you guys say I don't want this live? I didn't want this live service crap. But then when they cancel live service, God, I can't believe you cancel my live service crap. It's like, come on, guys. But it is what it is.
I got something for you. You want a timeline? Because I go back to the past. Let's get into this thing because let me get into these chats and. Thrash, I am trying to invite you to the Discord, but I cannot get this Discord shit to work. If you have it in there, you're free to join. I don't even know where the hell Discord went. Oh my god, I hate Discord so much. Let me get to these things right here. He goes, Cephalon Snow member 10 months. Congrats. Keep the 3K. Keep on grinding, bro. Hey, thank you so much, Cephalon Snow member for 10 months. VIP. Thrifty, who had to go. Shout out to Thrifty. Thanks again for coming through. Check out his show on Wednesday nights. He said, hit that like button. Let's get to 150. I didn't check. Are we there? I don't even know. But hit that like button. Listen to Thrifty. Are we there? We're at 120. Let's go, grinders. Hit that like button. Let's get to 150 because we're going into you're going to hear something that nobody's talked about. And I went back to the tapes and I got this timeline going and I can't wait for Frogs and JW to hear about it. Bal Dante, member for 8 months. Before you go on to I was going to say Bal Dante, member for 8 months. He goes, that dude felt it in his back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Phil Spencer, dude.
No.
Dude, pause on that one.
Xbox, no.
Dude, they just said that guy's name. Yo, he felt it in his back. His balls dropped and his back pulled out. Oh, shit, Bal Dante.
Man.
Bal Dante with the 10. Man. This one's for J-Dub. He goes, J-Dub, finally someone else is paying attention. Thank you. Financial risk mitigation is actually a thing. VAR is a thing. KPI along with staggered milestones are a thing. Shout out to Bal Dante. That's right. And that's when you run, they pivoted the business. So this is the thing I wanted to say. Is Sony getting back on track? Listen to this, because I had this theory because I was, just reading this stuff and I see a lot of like PlayStation's doomed and all this other stuff. But I agree. We all thought that the whole service announcement, and I did a whole thing on this on Friday, about this whole service announcement was weird. It was unorthodox of them to kind of prematurely. We just talked about how they know how to roll out these games. They know how to market them. They know what to do. And then they just kind of said, 10 live service games are coming. And it was just the weirdest thing. We didn't know who, what was making them, what was going on. And then they pulled it back. And now they pulled it back even more. They've been canceling them and they're pivoting. And they even said in their financials too that they're going to go back to the single party games. When you went out to the single person games, when Holtz separated and they went to the hardware guy and the software guy, they reevaluated. And remember, Hitokiness came in and he was going to reevaluate the budgets and all this other stuff, and then split Herman Holtz and the other guy to be the hardware and the software guy, and said, we're going to get back to PlayStation at the core and we're going to go back into these things. So they pivoted. Let me give you these timelines and tell me this shit ain't eerie. I'm not saying that this is factual. Like, this is like, this is sort of like what happened. But dude, this is wild. So my hypothesis, and I think many would agree with it, was that this service push was a knee-jerk reaction to Microsoft announcing their intent to buy ABK. I think that put Sony in a rut. It made them get very nervous, and they had to react, and they went and said, we need to make something to replace Call of Duty because Microsoft is going to own it and we don't know what they will do with it. And if they do something similar to what they did with Starfield and those other games that were coming to our platform that they just said, stop making the PlayStation version. If they do that to our moneymaker, Call of Duty, we need something. And I was like, that is such a hypothesis. Let me go back and see. Grinders, look at this, guys. J-Dub and Frog. This is so friggin' eerie. Microsoft announced their intent, and I saw this going around like, it's the 3-year anniversary of when they announced the ABK. How did it go? Remember Jeff Keighley gave that thing? Everybody gave it a D. They said Microsoft is holding the D in their hand. And they said that it was horrible the way they managed Activision.
The D in their hand, whoa.
Dude. Yeah, well, Microsoft got a big D. They got a little D in their hand right now for Xbox.
So feel das.
3 years ago, January 18th, 2022, Microsoft announced that they were intended to buying Activision Blizzard. Remember, Phil did that. I remember Phil made that announcement that they were going to buy ABK, and he tweeted it out saying we're interested in buying it. That was after the holiday of Activision and Big Booty Bobby doing his grab assing and all his crazy stuff, and he was getting voted out. They wanted to fire him. Phil came in as a savior in January of 2022. Then I was like, well, when did Sony announce their service focus? I couldn't believe it. It was February of 2022. They came out and Sony announced in February, where was it? I have it here. And they purchased Bungie. And they said that they're going to make their 10 live service games. A month after Microsoft announced their intent to buy friggin' Activision Blizzard King. Then we had the CMA and all that other shit going down, right? And then they were getting blocked. So it was March 2020. Wait, what was here? At investors call today that they will release them by March 2026. So Sony announced that they had plans to, here's the Verge. I'm sorry. This is the article they had. Yeah. So this article was written on February 2nd, 2022. A Sony surprise acquisition of Bungie earlier this week, $3.6 billion, and a lot more than just Destiny. An investors call today. Sony revealed plans to launch more than 10 new live service games by 2026. It was a month after Microsoft announced ABK. And then you remember the crying Jim Ryan. What did Ryan want? What was he saying? He was saying what? We are never going to make, he was upset about, but he wanted that deal blocked. He wanted that shit blocked. So what I thought was that Sony basically was like, yo, they're going to take Call of Duty and they may make it exclusive. It's money out of our pockets. We need to create service games to try to make up the money that we potentially might lose from Microsoft owning ABK, whether they make it exclusive, because think about it. Why did they do so many games? 10 friggin' games. That's basically Jim Gordon Ramsay Ryan went in there and he said, guys, he flipped over some tables and he went in there.
It's not even pink, this is raw.
And Coop has delivered undercooked salmon.
Undercooked salmon, it's raw. He went in there and said, we need everybody to stop making service games. We got Bungie. We need everybody to stop making service games because we don't know. We need to make up what's going on with Call of Duty. And I think that was the initial push because it was right there. They got scared shitless. And basically, they just said a massive focus on service games to make up Call of Duty. Then I think as time went on, this is my speculation, is that as time went on, they realized that the CMA, they weren't going to let Microsoft do to Call of Duty like they did with Bethesda. And Jim Ryan got on there. And if you remember some of the quotes from Jim Ryan, he was like, I just want to block this deal. He said,
stop your merger. I want to block your merger.
I want to block your merger. And if you remember, J-Dub, when Sony announced their 10 live service games coming by fiscal year 2026, how long was the initial deal for Call of Duty to be on PlayStation for before Phil Spencer gave him the second deal? Do you remember when he said that deal?
I think it was like three years.
Yeah,
2 or 3 years.
It was 3.
A short period of time.
Exactly. It was, and it wasn't good enough. And it was 3 years.
Yep.
And here's some of the Jim Ryan quotes about it. If you think about the way they focus on live service games now, and listen, here's the quote. Microsoft had offered Call of Duty to remain PlayStation for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony ends, Ryan said. After almost 20 years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take into account the impact on our gamers. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty, and Microsoft proposal undermines this principle. So think about it. They're buying ABK. They're taking money out of your bag, out of the services and the stuff that you make, the subscriptions, the microtransactions. Microsoft could potentially take that away from you. As a reaction, knee-jerk reaction, you go to your studios and go, you guys make incredible friggin' games. Now you make service games. We got to make this back. And guess what? We got 3 years to do it. So tell them by 2026, we'll have these games out, because they were trying to make up what they were going to lose in Call of Duty. And Jim Ryan said it's raw. And I think the pivot changed when the CMA and when they saw how Microsoft needed Call of Duty to sell. And I think last year, by them putting their games on there, Sony's like, guys, we could pull the plug. That we had some failures with service shit. We already took our risk. Let's pivot our teams back to what they do best. And the service thing, we don't need to make up for Call of Duty, because guess what? They kept it there because they need us. They're not going to pull a Bethesda to Call of Duty. So rein it in. Jim Ryan, knee-jerk reaction, went in there into the blue kitchen, threw out all the raw scallops, and said, we need service games, and panicked and created this. Bought Bungie, bought Fire Sprites, bought Jade Raymond. We need services, because they were afraid of Call of Duty under Microsoft. And when they saw it, and that's why they pulled back 6 games. We don't need them. And now they're pivoting now, because I think they realized the risk that they were going to take. And they saw now these studios are doing that. Wana says it's Pony Cope. I don't know, Wana. How do you think? You think? Well, I'm not telling you this is the right way. Like, this is right. I'm telling you that obviously it's mismanagement. I'm not giving Sony, they're smart now. I'm saying that they need this whole service shit was really strange. And the only thing that I think kicked it off was this goddamn Activision Blizzard thing. Look at the timing of it.
No, absolutely. But the whole Bungie deal, right? The only reason that they bought Bungie is because they feared they would lose Call of Duty. And
Yeah.
so the only way to help alleviate some of that stress is to go buy the second biggest shooter out there, or the third biggest, because obviously Destiny 2 is, it's been going for over a decade. It's a huge, no matter what people say, it's still a huge game, still a lot of, players and stuff like that. So they did that. They went out and spent 3 billion.
They
It's not like they
panicked.
spent 100 billion,
They
right?
panicked,
They
man.
did. They panicked and they bought the next best thing, and that assured them if shit went south, they could at least offer their fans another shooter, and they could
Something.
potentially,
But Jada, so many,
yeah,
right? 10
yeah,
basically, and that was the craziest thing, was that they turned their studios that were making first part, like single player games, into you're all changing now, we got to make some sort of service stuff, because you wouldn't hit that hard. You would, like, Sony was always put their toe in the water. They wouldn't go balls deep and go pause on that one and say 10 games are coming and then commit to 10 games by 2020. They pulled that shit out their ass because they were in panic mode.
But Call of Duty makes them. I forgot who reported this, but this was the number out there. PlayStation makes $3 billion off of Call of Duty
It was
annually.
during all the Activision shit. Yeah, it was like they made so much, and they were worried about the percentages.
That's $3 billion that's going to go away because they won't get that slice. Remember, Sony was getting a larger slice of the pie than Microsoft was by having it on the store, because Sony had all the buyers. They have the largest install base and where everybody at. Instead of getting 30% of the cut, they were getting like 40% of the cut. Whereas Microsoft, they had a small one. They weren't even getting 30% of the cut. They were getting 20% of the cut. That came out of the whole email leak and all that stuff, and the ABK deal. We found out a lot of nitty gritty details on the inside, and how Microsoft would have to pay way more than Sony to get a game on this platform, purely because the amount of users they had is it is what it is.
Yeah, I just thought it was so crazy that about just over a month after Microsoft announces their interest in buying ABK and Call of Duty, and we've seen the quotes that Jim Ryan wanted to do. He was really a real big flying over there and all that stuff, fighting the stuff, fighting Lulu.
They had to make up the shortfall for that $3 billion a year that they would lose. They had to.
And
so they said, hey guys, go make some live service shit to pull as much money in as possible. We can't lose $3 billion freaking dollars a year. We just can't.
Yeah.
And so I'll agree with you wholeheartedly. That's when this whole live service direction started. That's when the whole
they went really in on it. Yeah. And it was
but here's the thing. They focused on the worst case scenario.
Yeah. That Microsoft was going to pull
it. But for them, the best case scenario happened.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why they
got a longer deal. They got a 10-year deal. And then everything has just been fucking up for Microsoft. So Microsoft really relies on PlayStation.
Now I think a lot of the stuff they prevented Microsoft. And again, it was a 3-year deal. They made it to a 10-year deal, but now they look like they need to do that. So, like, it was just interesting, and not saying that they are right or wrong, but I think a lot of the service push from them was, a lot of it was the heightened sense of it was maybe they wanted to do some of it, but I think the balls deep craziness of 10 games, everything's going, and before they even knew who was working on them, before they were announced, basically was a month. I didn't realize that it was a month after, or a month and a half or so after Microsoft was buying Activision, and Phil gave them 3 years of Call of Duty. Because I think Phil initially wanted to treat Activision Blizzard King similar to what they did with Bethesda, where they went in there and said, don't make the PlayStation versions, don't make this. And I think as the legalities came out and they fought for this, they basically said, you're not doing this. And Jim Ryan crying, all that stuff, and saying, I want to block the deal and all those other things, basically bought them more time of Call of Duty. And then I think the huge revelation happened when they were sitting there looking at the portfolio and going that Microsoft wants to sell their games there. They need this stuff. that they could, and I think Concord woke the shit out of them. I think Concord scared the shit out of them when they saw. I think if they Concord came out and it was like another Helldivers, I think we still have more of them. But I think that Concord failing and them refunding money, they realized that this live service shit, and also too, I think we've seen over the last couple of years, the live service bandwagon has been a lot of failures too. So the writing has been on the wall that this live service bet hasn't been the best one to do. And Concord, I think, woke the shit out of them going, yeah, let's stop this as well. The thing came out too from this whole thing was that, they were saying that the devs just found out about it. And apparently that's what Gaming's Mankind, Jeff Grubb said. And apparently Justin Schreier denied that article saying that, no, they knew about this. This wasn't just revealed in Jason Schreier's article that they found out that they weren't working on it there. But I just think that, I just feel that we cannot ignore what the impact of the ABK deal, the Microsoft deal to Sony this was. Like, we spent over a year and a half listening to Sony like come out of, the guy was saying like, I wasn't even going to talk about this publicly until everything became public. And there's his quote right there. It says, it wasn't adequate enough for 3 years, but you look at it and it's like, my competitor is buying the biggest moneymaker for me. We need to have a contingency plan. We can't sit here and let them determine our fate. We need to do something. And I think that's why they prematurely screamed out about these 10 games and ran around with it. Now, I'm not saying that they weren't doing it before. I'm sure they were doing some sort of live service because everybody wanted it to run on that live service thing going into this generation. Not saying they just started them up, but I think the whole come to the front and talk about all these games coming by fiscal year and committing to games that they never even announced, we didn't even know who was working on them, was all prematurely done because of the knee-jerk reaction to the impact of what Call of Duty leaving their platform is. That's just my speculation on it. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just thought that it's coincidentally the dates kind of line up to be like, hey, Jim Ryan panicked, and he was the one screaming and yelling. And nobody else was. Like, he was the one that was like the face of this whole thing. And I think that Sony bet on these live service games. And I think this, and Wana says about Factions. I think Factions was one of those games that was in the production. Neil Druckmann can't get his head out of his ass because he loves himself so much. And I think that they just kept making it more and more ambitious. And then I realized that they can't do it all. They thought they were big guys. They're the biggest studio. They're the biggest and the best. We could work on Interstellar. We could make Last of Us. I could make movies and I could make live service games. And then they realized they bit off more than they can chew. And I think that's what happened in Naughty Dog. I'm not saying all these closures is because of this stuff. I'm just speculating that they realized that the live service bet wasn't worth it. And I think a lot of their Jim Ryan craziness about the ABK deal and what Call of Duty coming from them, like, losing that money in Call of Duty, I think that kind of subsided there. Like what J-Dub said, their greatest fears didn't come to fruition. Microsoft didn't actually, it was their best case scenario because now Microsoft is leaning towards them to sell the games. The game is needed on PlayStation and there's no risk of it getting pulled yet to their knowledge. And I think of the latest numbers and stuff, they feel more confident that, hey, we could go back to make these studios do what they do and not chase this live service bandwagon because, Call of Duty money will still be there. But I don't know. That was just my speculation. I don't know, Jada. What do you think? Do you think it's outlandish? I'm not saying it's 100% truth. I'm just thought it was just interesting seeing the dates and when it was there. Frogs, if you're there too.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, I think that's just what it is.
Yeah. I think the
is no
same
question.
thing.
There's no question about it. It all happened all around the same time. And we know because Jim Ryan made such a big deal about this deal going on. He told Phil Spencer and them to their face, even after they kept trying to offer various deals, I don't want a better deal. I want to stop your merger. He was all again, they had a good thing going. right? They had a good thing going for the last 20 years with Call of Duty. They didn't want that to go away. They didn't want the notoriety that they get from Call of Duty. It's the biggest game in the world. They didn't want that to go away. And so they had to do some reckless things, some desperate things, just in case, Microsoft could have, once they buy it, they could have pulled it off their platform. They could have did whatever they want, right? It's just it is what it is. I think you're right. You're spot on. You got the dates right. It all lines up with the same stuff. But here's the thing. Even without this going, I still think that Sony, in some capacity, I'm not going to say 12 goddamn games,
There's so many,
but
right?
in
Oh,
some,
wow.
yeah, but in some capacity, they should at least attempt to have a live service offering.
I agree.
Only because you can't, and I said this on Porter Rock's podcast. I love Sony's I'm all for Sony's first party single player games. That's why I'm a PlayStation fan. I love those games. But you can't be the king of the hill and be afraid to tackle multiplayer and be afraid to tackle live service. You can't be the master in one area and be afraid to tackle other areas. For years, actually for a couple of decades, Microsoft was known for the shooter box.
Oh yeah.
Right? It had all the shooters, it had the Halo, Gears, it had all, the cards, it had all it was just known for being a shooter box. And my thing is, why should that platform be known for why Sony? Where are your shooters at? Why can't you offer that? Yeah, you have the best racer, you have the best single player game, you have the best X, Y, and Z, but this big area that makes a lot of money for everybody else, you're afraid to tackle that. So why shouldn't you be in that space? Again, I'm not saying they should have 12
I think
games being attempted, but here, their first live service game that they offered was Helldivers 2. They knocked it out the park. So I thought that put everybody's mind to rest. But then,
Yeah.
you turn around and drop Concord, which was the total opposite effect, right? The total opposite.
right,
Two extremes.
right.
One is the multiplayer game of the year. The other is the worst failure in history. It's crazy, right?
Yep.
But I still
Right.
say that they still have to try.
Oh, I agree,
Right?
man.
They have to try
I
because
just can't believe the amount
you
that they did.
could have the next Call of Duty under your belt. You can't be afraid to tackle things.
Mhm.
So when I remember Yoshida said this a while back, this was some years ago, he did in an interview. Oh no, it was either Yoshida or Sean Layden. He said out of 10 games, 6 of them may fail. But it only takes those 4 to get you where you need to go.
Yep.
Not everything is going to be a hit. But I think we've gotten spoiled as PlayStation gamers. We've gotten spoiled for them just being right so many times, more so than
They were
having the
hitting.
duds.
Yeah, at the
Their
end of that
quality
2000.
control.
Yeah, the PS4.
Yeah, their quality control is. I mean, you say
It
what
was
you want. You might not
nonstop.
like the game. You might not like the game personally, but the quality control of their games are second to none. They typically
Yeah.
put out high quality games, whether it's
Right.
Horizon, whether it's Stellar Blade, whether it's Kena, whether it's whatever. They kind of know what fits a PlayStation mantra,
Yeah.
and
You're my
and,
number
and,
one
and
customer.
what they want to represent their platform. And so even they partner with various second party and third party studios. The games are high quality and it does justice to the console. On the flip side,
Right.
Xbox, when they partner with people, it tends to not work out. It's like, oh man, why did you
Yeah.
do this? Like it just never turned out. So I just think as PlayStation fans over the last generation, we've just become so spoiled in having that high quality. We don't think that they can fail at something, and you
Oh,
need to
yeah.
fail.
And they failed.
You need
And
to fail at some things to know and to gauge where you like the single player stuff. They could do it in their sleep. They can knock it out the park in their sleep. But
Right. I agree.
now that you've become the masters of that, now start going in other areas. I'd like to have some shooters. I'm not saying it has to be COD,
Yeah.
but if it can
Right.
just
via a first party offering of a shooter that, go back again. Shout out to Blaze. He said, hey, go back and try to tackle SOCOM or
I know they got so many
Killzone or
franchises they
something
could go
else
back
that
for.
you
Like,
have.
I'm not saying that all the Sony's missteps is blamed on anybody. They made the mess up. Like I said, they FAFO, man. They fuck around and find out. If they didn't know how to do this shit, like they thought that they could have kind of get Bungie to help them be what they wanted to be. Like Sony messed up in this whole thing. And Corey says that there's a slide from their investors call in 2020 where Sony says that they were going to spend more money on live service over 5 years. And so I remember the live service thing was going on when they started the generation. It was definitely going to be, the live service stuff. But I'm saying this announcement of 10 games coming, because that's what we're focused on, the 10 games. Then they pulled it back to 6 or 4, and then now they're pulling it back to just the 4 right now, because they kept evaluating these service games and they kept canceling them and pulling them back. And I said,
can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Impatient Fire said this. He said, I'm a spoiled PlayStation fan. I want them to keep making GOTY single player games, and I want less games as a service flops. Here's the thing. How can you say that? But one of the biggest games as a service game out there is Helldivers 2. That wouldn't exist if Sony wouldn't have invested or at least attempted games as a live service game, like games as a service. My
That's what
number
you're
one
saying.
played game last year was Helldivers 2. I have over 200 hours in it, if not more.
Yeah,
it was my GOTY, and it's something that I play pretty much every day, sinking a ton of hours in it.
Yeah,
that game wouldn't exist if they wouldn't have said, "Hey guys, let's attempt to go in this avenue." With all of these other people making all of this money on games as a service game, making all this money,
Right.
you can't be the king of the hill. You can't say you're the best. You're the best place to play, and you're the best number one gaming company in the world, but you're afraid to go out and compete in other areas. That's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying I want them to keep making duds. No, I want them to get good. I want them.
We want balance.
We want balance. Listen,
Yeah.
every game is not going to be a Helldivers 2. We saw that from Concord. Not every game is going to knock it out the park. But
that don't mean they should stop.
I'm just
That's
saying,
what you're saying.
if you're
just stop
willing,
everything.
yeah, okay. You win the first game, right? Okay, and you lose the second game. Now you're gonna say, nope, that's it. Stop playing basketball. You're no good. You're gonna tell me to stop playing, but my first game I knocked it out the park. But my second game I failed. Like you don't stop after with a 50-50. No, I'm just saying keep trying. Again, I'm not saying try 12 times, but I'm saying until like this third game could be another Helldivers 2 type game. It could knock it out the park. We don't know. Like
but I also think
this is
I
new.
think Sony's gotten.
Go ahead.
I think Sony's got. I don't mean to cut you off. I think Sony's gotten comfortable in what they make in their single player. I've heard a lot of people say this before, and I agree. They've gotten comfortable in that space where they're like, we know how to do this really well. And they've never attempted to really tackle those other spots. They just said they relied on the third-party deals they had with Activision and Call of Duty and all these other game studios. They're like, okay, we can rely on this. Right, and they did not anticipate. Right, they didn't anticipate maybe some of this stuff where Activision would be purchased, and I think that they should have created that competition to Call of Duty. And then the other thing is, I go back to they have legacy games and titles they could bring back, and they have not touched. They haven't, they did a Ratchet and Clank. They haven't touched a Jack and a Dexter. They haven't attempted to touch some of these Resistance games and these other games that made PlayStation 3, where PlayStation 3 was significantly, it seemed like it was down-powered in games. They created franchises like the Resistance and these other franchises that lifted them up out of ashes, the infamous games. They need to go back to some of the basics of creating game works, and I hope they would understand. I don't think that most people mind the single player aspect, but you're totally correct when you say you can't be this big gaming company and say we've mastered this, but you've only mastered one area. Where are your multiplayer games?
You gotta try.
Yeah, There should be at least I would, in my opinion, there should be at least 2 or 3 games where we're like, oh, this is the Sony franchise, and we go to PlayStation to play this online. We don't really have
Yes.
that many games we can really say. They're
Yeah.
mostly dominated by the Fortnites, the Call of Duties, and
Yes.
and my biggest thing I've always said with PlayStation, and this is where I will give Microsoft credit. Microsoft will try and hand it something when they created the Forza Horizon series and they said,
Yeah.
okay, here's the Forza number series, here's the Horizon series. I felt like Sony so many times have had Polyphony Digital create offshoots of Gran Turismo when they did sport. That should have been their forte to the Horizon type series game. And they didn't change anything. They never let Polyphony to do that. They didn't say, hey, you guys need to try something completely different.
Yeah.
Give Forza Horizon a competition out there, and I just think
Yeah.
they're kind of stuck in a rut where they're like, this has been working, so we're not going to fix it. Look, Gran Turismo is a great franchise, but I'm pretty sure if Sony jumped out there and they created a Gran Turismo Sport, and Sport was their open world type game where it was in Japan or wherever it was going to be based at, whatever, I think people would have really gravitated to that because you had something different to play. And I think that Sony has lost some of their luster in, where we had the Sly Coopers. They don't. They're when I look at Naughty Dog, I think Naughty Dog is really talented. But I think Naughty Dog is talented at one thing right at this point. I don't think they can master many things. I
And
think
that's a
Naughty Dog is talented.
representative of Sony. That's a
And
representative of
that's the
PlayStation in
problem with a
general.
lot of their studios. A lot of their
Yeah.
studios have mastered one thing. They will only stick to that. You guys say San Diego Studios, you're making baseball games. You only mastered that. Then you got Polyphony Digital. They only mastered Gran Turismo. You got Naughty Dog, the story-based games. Like when this new game called Intergalactic comes out, I kind of know what I'm getting to a certain extent. I know the story's
Hmm.
going to be amazing. I know the
Yeah.
graphics going to be amazing. The gameplay, it's going to be up and but my whole thing is like you have other studios like Blue Point who as with their remasters and remakes, they're so talented. Give them the chance to go back and say, "Hey, we're gonna reboot this Jack and Dexter franchise, or reboot this Resistance franchise." Give them the chance to say, "Hey, let's make a new Soul Comms game." And I don't know if what Sony's scared of in that front, or if they just believe that the Activisions and all these EAs and 2Ks will always be there for us. I
Yeah.
remember a PlayStation from the PS1 all the way up to the PS3 that, they said, hey, we're going to create a basketball game, even though EA has a basketball game and 2K had a basketball game. They had their
Yeah.
own basketball game. We don't have that in
And
gaming
football.
anymore.
And
Yeah,
football. Remember?
in football,
They had-
I remember
Yeah.
Game Breaker and Game Day. We don't
Yeah.
have that anymore where
Yeah.
these game companies will say, you know what, let's take a risk. Let's go ahead. You know what? People have been asking for a college football game, or people have been asking for a college whatever. Take that risk and come out and say, hey,
Yeah.
Sony San Diego, since you're good at sports, hey, you guys going ahead and we got the baseball. Hey, you guys, and maybe it's just that NBA 2K does so well, they don't even want to go on that field and say, San Diego, go ahead and make a basketball game at the same time you make a baseball game.
Well, they
But
kind of unfortunately with the sports they can't because
I get
EA
it because of
and
licensing.
2K got the license,
Right, it's a
right?
lot.
So that's
But
unfortunate. Yeah.
what I'm getting at is
But
like
we get what you're saying though. We
the
definitely get what you're saying.
the Sony's PlayStation that we had from the
Mhm.
PS1 until now, they took these risks, and it wasn't all about the single player aspects. They
Yeah.
took big risks. I mean, there's a lot of franchises, and I've heard
Yeah.
Nintendo and I've heard Microsoft's Xbox guys say this. There's a lot of franchises that are stuck, and they're stuck in limbo, and they should be back. They should be here. They should be rebooted. They should be given to a new audience because a lot of these young guys that own PlayStation 5s, when they go on the PS6, they don't know what Resistance is. They don't know what Infamous is.
Yeah.
They've got to find a way to bring this back and bring it back with a spin on it, a clever spin, and make people love it again. They did that with God of War. They did that with Ratchet.
You think they were doing that with
and
that
I just
God of
don't know
War
where they're.
multiplayer? What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know where their
That
mind. What I'm saying
wild.
is, I don't know where their mind frame is right now with how they make money. But I think that they're doing some things well. But JW, you hit the freaking nail on the head with
Yeah.
the hammer. Like you can't say you're this big Goliath and you only really good at maybe one or two things. And you're like, but there's a big market out there. Microsoft
Yeah.
used to be the shooter box. You guys could tackle that. You guys have the resources and talent to challenge Call of Duty. They do. But I just don't know why
and that's
they
why,
won't do it.
as I was saying, like, earlier, like, I felt like it was very unorthodox of them from this whole live service thing. Like, they typically put their foot in the water, come out with a couple of games, see how it goes. And one of the things that I said on Friday was the thing that ticked me off with these service game announcements was that at first I thought they were buying like Fire Sprite, J. Raymond Studio, and experimenting games as a service with them and not their own internal studio, their studios that they had working. And what we're finding is like with Blue Point and in the other company that were working on these games that they had them cancel. It was like, yo, you had everybody doing live service games. Like, this is pretty wild. Like, I thought you were just basically just taking some of these other studios and making those games with them, but now it seems like you had everybody on deck, a lot of people banking on service games. And now the only ones I think right now is Herman Holtz won't let Aloy go, and he wants to have Gorilla make Aloy multiplayer with a whole bunch of Aloys running around because he loves himself some Aloy. I don't. That's the only one I think that's remaining. For service games. And also, I just want to go back and say, like, I'm not saying that all service games that come out from Sony were knee-jerk to the deal. I just said that their announcement of these live service games before we even knew who was making them, what they were, what was going on, what were they even counting, that whole announcement in their financial meeting was definitely, I'm thinking, was a reaction to the intent of Microsoft to buy Activision, which kind of started this wave of all these service games that they're focusing on. And now, after seeing the way Activision and that whole stuff has been handled and realizing their financial stuff and they're banking on that stuff, now they're trying to get their money back, canceling those games. Like, they misjudged everything. They misread the room. They panicked, and I think they panicked a lot. I think Jim Ryan was the face of the panic, and he wore himself out. That's why he's in the old age home now, eating some pudding and Jello night and singing karaoke. And that's where he is now. But I think that he, ran around and he was very, thinking like, we're going to lose Call of Duty, and kind of said, fire everything.
Well, just technically, you're right about Jim Ryan, but the reason why I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I have a different take is because
that
that
I'm
was
not saying I'm
his
right either.
job.
I have no freaking clue. I'm just talking about, I just see the dates and I'm like
No,
making a story.
I'm looking at it from a business perspective, right? From executive's perspective, that's his job. His job is to fight for his breadwinner.
Yeah, he couldn't be
was a
complacent
breadwinner.
and sit there and make Microsoft determine.
And so
he
has to tell his bosses, right? He has to tell Hiroki Totoki and Kaz Hirai and investors. He has to tell them, what the fuck are you gonna do if this COD goes away?
Yeah, or if
What are you gonna do? Yeah. So he did with the best thing that he thought he could do, replace it with not the biggest shooter in the world, but one of the biggest shooters in the world, which just so happened to be a live service game.
Let's focus
and
on
leverage
multiplayer.
them. And leverage them to start venturing into this live service game that can bring in reoccurring money, because that's the trend that's going on in the industry and everybody else is dabbling into it. And why shouldn't they? And so it made sense given the situation he was in at the time.
And the times
Now
of the
we
live
see-
service
now-
games.
Now, here's the thing. That was the thinking in 2022, right? It's
Exactly.
2025
Coming out of the
now.
pandemic.
We know Microsoft flubbed that, right? That should have been their W. They flubbed it, and they flubbed
got the
it
D.
massively. So
They got
now
the
Sony
D.
has to say, hey, listen, that was plan A,
Mm-hmm.
but Microsoft fucked it up royally. Now we don't need the plan at all anymore. Now we're going to scale back. Instead of having 12 games, we're gonna just go with Helldivers and maybe Marathon, and maybe Fair Games, and see how they go. And then if they go bad, then we're just gonna stick with Helldivers and just go back to what we normally do. I think that's how it's gonna go. But I think our reaction that we have from this news being out there, from all these council games.
I
We
don't
saw
like that shit.
our favorite studio, Naughty Dog, could have went the way of the Dodo Birds if they would have went ahead and released Factions 2. Right?
Yeah.
What if they would have released Factions 2? And what if we were on this podcast talking right now? What if Factions 2 would have ended up being that fucking Concord?
Ugh.
Right? Now we no longer get The Last of Us. We no longer get Interstellar. We no longer get Uncharted, and then that studio goes away. Then we're sitting here crying and screaming, oh my God, I can't believe they did. I'm gonna be honest. When Naughty Dog came out and said we had a choice to make, either we become all in on live service, and this is the only thing we'll ever make for the foreseeable future is just this live service game here. We got to just keep supporting this forever. Or we go back to making and doing what we do, making the big the Goldie winners. And they decided to go with the Goldie winner. And before you know it, they dropped the trailer to Interstellar and shut everybody up. And it's been worked on for over 4 years. And so that means we may get it next year. If not, so that that gives me
Do you
a
think?
good
See,
piece of
that's what I'm
mind.
hoping. See, that's what I was hoping. When I said on Friday too, like with Blue Point and with with the other studio that was making what were the two games that got canceled? It was Blue Point and it was who was the other one? It was
it Gorilla? Was it? No, it wasn't Gorilla. It was Blue Point and
it was Blue
one
Point
of
and
their other
who the
studios.
hell was the other one? I forget. Now I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but,
Blue Point. Somebody put in the chat. But those two games, like I'm just hoping that Studio Ben's game, Studio Ben.
Yeah.
So Ben,
Well, Ben already tweeted out. They already reaffirmed that they're working on they're working on another game.
Yeah,
and stuff
see,
like
that's
that,
what I was hoping. I was hoping like that, like maybe Blue Point has to go back to the drawing board, but I was hoping that these were split off to kind of like, hey, we want a multiplayer portion or we want to do this. See, what I don't get, and this is the thing that was getting me with this whole thing. They had a recipe. You had like with Ghost of Tsushima. I thought that is the ideal situation. You release a banger game, and then later on you put out the multiplayer aspect of it, and you can put a battle pass on Ghost of Tsushima, whatever you want.
There's no money.
Done.
There's no money. Okay, so
but
here's
put
the
a
thing.
Pass in it. I don't know.
Listen. I listen. I'm with you, but the days of just having the tacked on multiplayer. Those days are kind of over.
It sucks
because these companies spend Sony is one of the only companies that's willing to risk spending $300-400-500 million on a single player game. Right? That's a huge risk.
Man.
And if you can't monetize that to get sure you can sell enough
they put
copies.
a battle pass on it, some shit like that.
You can sell enough copies, right? But you can sell enough copies.
You gotta sell enough copies of the game if it's tied to it. Yeah.
Get your money back and to be able to start on your next project. But to be able to get the big money is that residual money that you keep getting years and years down the line. See, Grand Theft Auto really fucked the industry up with that.
Yeah, they did because
them and Call of Duty.
Well, that's why we get GTA 6 whenever the hell because the GTA Online.
Look, Take-Two. If you go back, Take-Two 2 generations ago, they used to release like 10 games a year.
Yep.
No shit.
Manhunt.
No shit. Literally 10. Listen, Manhunt.
Customer.
Midnight Club.
Midnight Club.
Even a ping pong game.
Ping pong. I mean, they release so many games a year. To now, they release one game every 3 generations. Think about
crazy. That's the service.
That game fucked up the whole industry.
Look
and now
at EA
everybody
with Apex Legends. Their output slowed down after Apex took off.
Dude, exactly. So these games pull in.
I don't want that shit to happen to them, to Sony,
and they never have to.
I don't want that shit to happen.
Yeah, they never have to make. Think about it. After GTA 6, they literally never have to make another game ever again. They can just keep supporting GTA 6, and guess what? GTA 6 will be there until fucking PlayStation 9.
Who the hell knows?
Think about
dude.
that.
They'll put
Literally.
that shit 7 times.
When they dropped GTA 5, I had the PS3.
That's crazy.
I have the fucking. We're working on PS6.
It is insane. It's been that long.
Listen, it's been a long fucking time.
It's been long. Holy shit.
Got kids that weren't born when that was out.
Insane.
You see what I'm saying? That's fucking crazy.
That is crazy.
So I mean,
that's what GTA Online is the thing that kept them the light. That's what did.
Yes, and everybody is trying to replicate that success.
Yeah, because they want to set it and
And
forget it, dude.
yes, look at Call of Duty. It just the article just came out and it said for the was it Modern Warfare 2 they or Black Ops I can't remember
Like,
which
the
one of
cost,
them,
the amount
but
they spent on everything,
almost $1 billion for
Shit.
one game.
dude.
And they release a game every year. Call of Duty releases every year,
Yeah.
right?
And they're staggered, so they've been working on that shit. Yeah, they must have
Yes.
fell out of their
So
chair when
they
they saw the budgets
spend-
for those games. Microsoft when they bought them.
Bro, so how can Sony compete?
No,
with
the Jim Ryan
this-
said that.
you
He's
see what
like,
I'm
we
saying?
will
Like-
never make a game as big as Call of Duty. So let's make 10 service games to make over it.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to beat Call of Duty. You don't have to beat GTA. But just being in that ballpark, just being one of the top played games of every year, just having even Destiny too. You can say what you want about Destiny, but that franchise has printed a lot of money because it's been going on for over a decade.
Dude, that's
So think about that. That one game has been going on for a decade.
Yep.
So that one franchise. And so it's not like they rebuild everything from scratch, right? It's the same engine, same graphics. They just keep supporting it with updates. So it's very little amount of money, but the reward from it is like huge.
Yeah. And
So
that
you
many
can kind
people.
of understand why some of these companies want to. Now listen,
They want that bread. They
Hell,
want that money.
I can't
Set and
say
forget
without
it.
a shadow of a doubt that Helldivers 2 is going to be played in the next 2-3 years. It could die this year. We don't know.
Yeah.
But if we look back next generation sometime and look back and say, hey guys, remember when Helldivers 2 dropped in the PS5 generation? It's still going strong, it's still kicking ass, there's still so many updates and stuff. It could be it's in the discussion, right? It's in the
Exactly.
discussion of one of the top played live service games, and that's recurring revenue that they get to go and keep investing $500 million into the Spider-Mans and the Wolverines and the God of Wars and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine how much money they're investing into Interstellar. It's I know it's probably more than The Last of Us too, right?
It's that
So
recurring revenue,
just-
man. That's what they all were chasing
Yes.
into this generation.
Yes.
They wanted that Fortnite money. They wanted that Minecraft money. They wanted that money where you just set it and forget it. You build a platform. Do you remember, like, even Phil was saying this stuff back in the day? He was like saying, like, we're going to build this world, a platform for people to they want this set it and forget it because they want this recurring revenue. They don't want to go into these peaks and valleys of like releasing a banger, watching it fall down, and then like, okay, just come on, guys, speed up that next banger because we need to make this money and rely on these peaks. Rather, let's get something that's giving us money all the time. And guess what? How much staff do you need to go make skins? You know what I mean? And balance weapons and stuff. You don't have to recreate. Like, damn, you look at Fortnite. You think that they upgraded that thing? You think they're updating the skeletal structure of those things? Dude, they're outfits on the same character model. Like, that's what it is. They're not have to adjust the physics and all that stuff. Maybe if they want to update the game, but for every character they put in the game, they're not updating physics and stuff like that and interactions.
Exactly.
Like they test it and then set it and forget it.
It costs maybe $10 million to just keep updating that game.
Yeah.
But they get $2-3 billion a year.
They're all
off
looking for
of
that
it.
golden goose,
It's
man.
just that golden goose, man.
That's it. And that's what
here's
he
the thing.
said. 10 games. That's why I just thought it was just like it was like a chum. Like, hey, let's just do 10. Like you said, maybe 2 or 3 of them are big, and then we'll just like take the hits on the other one. And the thing that pissed me off though was so much is that if it's gonna delay games coming from them because they're canceling games, and it's like, do they have to go back to the drawing board, or was this a side thing and they're still working on something? Because like, you know, like, see, similar to a Naughty Dog, and I can't think that the other studios are like Naughty Dog, like Blue Point, whatever like that. But like the fact that Naughty Dog was able to cancel Factions, which sucks, because I think Factions might have been something that could do like a Helldivers 2 because I think it's unique. It's in a great world. They could add some stuff to it. And I think that might have
It
been.
wouldn't have had legs.
I don't know.
To
Whatever it is, but I think like on paper, like from what I could think about what it would be, it may be something. But the fact that they were able to cancel that game and then a year or so later announce, hey, here's a new game, Intergalactic, like I think I'm hoping that these other cancellations, they don't shut them down like a London studio, and that they don't go far behind like, hey, Bluepoint, we're not going to see you again now for the next half a decade because you're back to square one because they walked in and said, cancel God of War multiplayer. Whoever thought, Jim Ryan thought that was
but they were all working on multiple
I hope
projects,
that's what I'm saying.
so.
I hope we don't get this whole. And because I feel like, though, the last couple of years, like Sony has been doing its first party, but I felt like the beginning of the PS5 generation, the end of the PS4, they were just nonstop coming out with just hits after hits. And like after we had the God of War and stuff, it was like, where's the phase 2? And everybody's like, where's phase 2? And Spider-Man 2 was like the end of that big announcement train. And it was like, where's the phase 2? And it seems like we're kind of a year or so out of like when we should have probably heard about the phase 2 stuff. And I know Ghost of Yotai is like the first one, and Death Stranding is kind of like the first wave of like, we're talking about Marvel, looking at like, talking about Marvel's like, oh, well, this is phase 11, phase 1, and now we're going to
Wolverine.
phase 2.
We got Wolverine.
The multiverses. It's like, dude, where it seems like the same shit that Marvel faced. It was like they couldn't get out of their own way. It's like, Sony, where's your like multiverse, like the phase 2 now? And,
well, I think
so. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, I thought this right because I think I said this earlier, but everybody was talking about this. Well, Sony, where's your games and this and this and that? They were upset, and then Sony randomly dropped Ghost of Yotai.
There you go. I know, and
right?
they have like we talked about earlier.
And then like 2 months later at the Game Awards, they dropped Interstellar. Like. I'm not making excuses for them.
No, this is a fact.
Because
they actually did this
they have
stuff.
to.
You're right.
But,
they could
but
do
what
that.
I'm saying is, I don't know if it's just Sony's gotten so big, but they get to write or to control when they want you to see what they got. At any day of the week, they could randomly drop
they could break the
state of
internet.
play
and
make the internet go crazy if they want to. They command that and they demand that, and so
both
we can
Nintendo
easily
and Sony could
say,
do that. Yeah.
Sony could come out next week or tomorrow with a state of play and drop
Wolverine trailer. It's like, holy shit!
Yeah,
and the whole dynamic changes.
Exactly, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Right?
What a year! So 2025. I swear.
Like, look what happened with Interstellar, right?
It's like sportscasters,
the internet, right? Yeah,
the guy throws 4 interceptions but wins the game, and they're like, "Oh, he had a great game. He throws 4 interceptions, they lose." It's like he should be fired.
Yeah. Remember last year was supposed to be the year of Xbox.
Oh, forget
right?
about that.
And then they only dropped like 2 games, and then Sony ended up dropping all those games fucking like back to back from Final Fantasy to Rise of Ronin, then Helldivers, and on and on and on, right? And then they ended up winning fucking Game of the Year, right? Like who saw that coming from
Nobody.
Astrobot,
That's it.
right?
Last year, this time,
we
it
didn't
was
even
doom
know.
and gloom. It was like, they got nothing.
Like at any moment, they could just drop a goatee. But I think it goes back to, I don't know if these guys are thinking like, yeah, we could show them everything, but we're going to do it on our time. We're going to do it on our playing field.
The pressure's not there. That's the
They're
problem.
going to love it. And then we have no competition.
I know. The pressure's not there. Microsoft not breathing down their neck.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the downside.
That's the problem.
That's the downside of Xbox exiting the console space, is because Sony really is not going to have any, they're not going to have any
pressure, like
pressure
yeah,
they're going to release games, but there's no pressure for them to come out and just on a random Wednesday and just drop something and like they're going to do it their way, and and my whole stance on this, right? I'm here for the games.
Hell yeah.
All the business side of things, whether they fail in games as a service, all I can tell them is to get good. Either you're going to be the best in gaming, or you're going to be the
Yeah, or somebody else will come and take that spot. And you have to, listen, I bought Concord, I bought the controller. I thought it was a good game, but the
It played
majority said
well.
it wasn't. And so guess what? It died. And I'm glad Sony killed that shit out, refunded money, and moved on with
Yep, moved
life.
on. Here's Astrobot. Forget about
Don't
that.
drag some shit on and just
We'll
let
fix
that
it
stench
later.
just
We
sit out
hear
there.
you.
Yeah, don't pull a Redfall, right? There was no redeeming Redfall. It just
No.
literally should have never came out. But I can say this: they easily redeemed themselves. They fucking dropped Astrobot. It became a phenomenon. Won Game of the Year. Moved on from that. We had fucking Silent Hill 2. We
Yeah, that
had,
too. They're making those kind of
you
deals
know,
too. Yeah.
and yeah, and it's for good or bad. It's still, if you're an Xbox guy, it sucks. But even this year, if Sony decides to be very light on the first party content, we still got fucking Halo, Gears, and Forza, and Flight Simulator, and the rest of that shit. So it's like
it's coming.
we got Phil helping us.
It's coming. It's coming. The game night with the 5, he goes, Sony can try their hand in gas games all they want. I just don't have any faith in fair games, and that Gummy Bears MOBA Smash Brothers game all flops to me. Dude, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Fair games, I don't even know what they're going to do with it. I think if they even say, even they start the word, they go, they go back, canceled. Like, I don't even know how even to start with that game, fair games. Like, I don't know what they can do. They got to show some incredible gameplay, and then at the end, be like, oh, that was fair games. Because I don't think they need, I think that's what they got to do, is surprise people with a brand new game and gameplay, and then at the end go, oh yeah, that was fair games. That's the only way I would release it, because I would not say, here's fair games, have Jade Raymond talk about it. No, I don't even know. And that Gummy Bears game, I don't know what the hell's going on. Bungie, I don't know. I don't know if it's Smash Brothers. It better be goddamn PlayStation All Stars the coming back. That's the only Smash Brothers game it better be. It better not be no Bungie All Stars.
Shout out to Zinc in the chat. Jez, he's just reminded us tomorrow we have Phantom Blade Zero new trailer.
Oh,
hopefully we get
shit.
it's coming
That
out
game
this
looks
year. Hopefully we
awesome.
get a release date. Yeah, that game there was at the top of my fucking
There you
radar.
go.
And don't forget, Microsoft has its developer direct, so we get to see all the games that's coming to PlayStation on that show too. So
I'm not excited about that. I'm excited about seeing the devs, and if they show me people doing cartwheels and doing goddamn riding scooters in the hallway, and people playing games at lunch and having coffee breaks and grabbing ass.
Well,
I need that kind of stuff in that dev direct. I need people looking like a one of those goddamn they take you in the back room training videos. Look like we do shit here. But no, that's still Phantom Blade. So here's the reveal trailer that was on PlayStation. Yeah, here it is. Well, hold on. Let me get this thing. Is this did it have gameplay in it? I'm sure it did. Oh yeah. Yeah, this game. Oh shit. Yeah, this game's a new trailer tomorrow. So there you go. Like, they're doing what they're doing there. So we will. Oh shit, what is this thing? But yeah, we got the dev direct, which I need to see people doing goddamn cartwheels. That's what I need to see. I want to see people I want to see the studios not working and doing all that other stuff. But yeah, this is. Oh yeah, this game is gonna be frame lit. This is another exclusive, dude.
Snowing outside.
Holy crap, dude! Snow. I'm sick of snow. I just shoveled today. New Jersey.
Dude, I'm in Texas. Snow. Like you got
snow.
It like never snows, dude. I'm gonna take the kids outside now, and
damn,
dude, it's crazy.
But dude, yeah, it was so. Yeah, hit that like button. We wrap that up here. We will see, what they're doing. Here's a Phantom Blade. We'll have a new trailer tomorrow. Thank you, Zinc. Shout out to Zinc coming through. Let me make sure I got everybody here. Hit that like button. We'll get to over 150 likes, 170 likes. I don't know where we are at with our numbers. We got Bal Dante with the 5 is he says great panel conversation. Hey, thank you, Bal Dante. Thought we'll do something different. It's always great having J-Dub Frogs and Thrifty on and going through the topics. Again, it was kind of regurgitated. Like, you heard kind of my opinion on the stuff, but I wanted to get everybody else on here because it's it was the holiday weekend, and there's not a lot of news coming out too from them, and it's a lot of just kind of wait and see. And I think the dev direct and that surprise game we'll see, but this game looks freaking lit, dude. This looks wild. This is It probably looks like one of those hard games. Oh shit, I like that. He has a cover mechanic? Damn. He has a cover. Dude, yeah. I've been seeing the first show of this thing. So yeah, this yo, people started fighting and thought it was fake. I remember that, Brian East. I remember that. They thought it was fake. Holy shit. I remember that shit. Yeah, this does look good. When is it? Oh, we don't have a release date yet for this. Dude. But yeah, shout out to, holy shit, Baldante with the 50 VIPs. Holy crap. We are now 100 and shit. I gotta do my additions, but I think we are now halfway to where we need to be for the new emoji. But Baldante, thank you so much. Dude, I gotta do the calculations, but he is the bombs of bombs. Baldante. The 50 bomb at the end. Holy shit.
Thank you for the VIP membership.
Oh, damn. Baldante. Hit him up.
Thank you for the VIP membership.
He got them all. King Hoff. Day Night. The Ruham. What's up, Ruham? Sentient. Sayo. We get the mooch. Oh, we grip the mooch. Yo, Baldante just took them all out there, dude. Baldante's getting us to that emoji. Remember, as we're there, we're about 100 and we were 150. Now that 50 and then another, we're on the double digits to get the next VIP voting on. Do we want Thou Shall Not, I think, or do we want the Xbox Glaze as our next emoji? Yo, shout out to Baldante, man. Yeah, great panel conversation, dude. And shout out to J-Dub, Frogs, and Thrifty for coming on through, man. It was an awesome show. It was so awesome that J-Dub started seeing snow in Texas as wildness going on there. But hey, definitely celebration of 3K. And also we hit our goal too with all the awesome super chats. So you'll definitely be exiting with an awesome new song, which I gotta get queued up. But yeah, it was, yeah. And again, there's a lot going on. And again, I'm not saying right or wrong. That's why we just have these conversations as gamers in the chat and everybody. And again, I respect everybody's opinion on this stuff. And hey, I'm not this is what happened. This is what I have no clue. All I said, I just look at some coincidences and put things together. Knee-jerk reactions. All I know is that it was uncanny of them to put this there. They pivoted, and I'm not saying that, blame Microsoft for Sony's missteps. Sony made the mistake. They made their bed, and they're sleeping in it now, and they're fucking around and find out. That goes with their service stuff, and that goes with their PC stuff. And again, if they mess up, I'm not buying it, or I'm not doing what I'm going to do. So that's basically what it is. But, I still believe, though, that ABK deal did have some ramifications across the industry, especially to their direct competitors. And Jim Gordon Ramsay Ryan, went in there and said it's raw. But anyway, we definitely have we hit that thing. And yeah, again, just putting that stuff together. But hey, hit that like button, grinders. We are at 3K. It was a 3K celebration. And what better way to then to switch to, well, let's come. I thought I had my Herman dance. Where the hell's my Herman Split song? I don't know if I have it here. Is this not it? Is the Herman Splits? Grinders. We might have to go to, we're going to this song. We got a good song here. This song is for all you portable fans out there. This was released with the Gaming Grinders, Ultimate Grinders. Hopefully you like this one. Where did it go? Hit that like button, grinders. Share it out. Keep it locked to your Gaming Grinders. It's going to be a fun week this week with all the stuff coming. It's all coming.
25. It's coming.
And we're going to leave you with, for all you fans out there, you got a new song of portable devices. This song is called What's That in Your Pants?
Xbox no, feel this.
I hope you like it. Good night, grinders.
What that in your pants, bro? Ain't no joke. An Xbox, it's small, yo, it's getting broke. Feeling black is the game you trying to make. Plug it in, let's play before it bakes. Tiny console, what a strange surprise. Ain't no Titan, it's a minute prize. Trying to play Halo on a screen that's small. Best get closer or you won't see it all. What that in your pants? It's an Xbox box. No growing, no glowing, just a bunch of shocks. What that in your pants? It's got me LOLing. An Xbox for sure, but no game worth selling. Buttons are so tiny you need a fine touch. Games a pint-sized haven, play that much. Controller in your lap, man, it's kinda sad, but we'll laugh it off, then call it a fad. Pocket-sized fun, not a lot to brag, but it's still a console, just a little lag. When you sit it down, make sure to let it breathe. It's a squeeze, but it's made for ease. What that in your pants? It's an Xbox box. No growing, no glowing, just a bunch of shocks. What that in your pants? It's got me LOLing. An Xbox for sure, but no game worth selling. Pocket-sized fun, not a lot to brag, but it's still a console, just a little lag. When you sit it down, make sure to let it breathe. It's a squeeze, but it's made for ease. What that in your pants? It's an Xbox box. No growing, no glowing, just a bunch of shocks. What that in your pants? It's got me LOLing. An Xbox for sure, but no game worth selling. It's a squeeze, but it's made for ease. What that in your pants? It's an Xbox box. No growing, no glowing, just a bunch of shocks. What that in your pants? It's got me LOLing. An Xbox for sure, but no game worth selling.
Thank you again, Grinders. Good night. And thank you again, 3K subscribers. Thank you for all the VIPs, super chats, and to our guests, J-Dub, Frogs, Dope Gaming, and Thrifty. Shout out to them. Thank you again, guys. Awesome show. Good night.